Original, genuine American cuss words.
I made up my own curse word.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be able to say stuff online and not be able to get like banned for it. So if I call someone a slunt, they can't really get me in trouble for that because slunt is not a word.
I think people figure that shit out real quick.
They can figure it out, but it's not a bad word. You look up the list of bad words, it's not on there because I made it up.
God damn. I just call people smegma.
Oh yeah,
Smegma.
that's a good one. Very British.
Like, hey man, you smell like smegma.
Yeah, smeghead.
Fuck it. Drink a river of smegma, dude.
Disgusting. All right, Dutch. Hit it, Jack.
Hit it with the banter or hit it with
Oh, we're in, man. That was
the
it.
show?
What's
Oh, we're in the show.
We're live now.
I wanted to start with my prank one, marry one, isolate or snap one away like Thanos.
Oh,
Welcome in everyone to Dig on America, a
isn't that the same
socio-political.
thing as kill?
Yeah, we're not.
No,
using
because
the
they weren't
keyword.
dead.
And then they were unsnapped.
Yeah, they were unsnapped. They weren't dead. So you interrupted the show. We'll get back to that. Welcome in everyone to Dig on America, a socio-political podcast where every week we give you the dig on U.S. history, politics, policy, and sometimes a little bit of pop culture and discuss how they affect social issues. Today, DOA is independent media supported by listeners, but probably also a deep state propaganda arm funded by George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, Jay-Z, and
Greasy grandmama. Yeah.
and Lex Luthor. Right. And your greasy grandma is supporting this show. So yes.
Cheese back ass grandmama.
She's back ass.
Wow.
And of course supported by Colin Kaepernick, as is shown by Haas's shirt. I got into a Kaepernick argument today. It's been so long since I've had a Kaepernick argument. I felt incomplete. And then all of a sudden, there you go. There was a Kaepernick, and it's the same old arguments. The guy goes, "He sucked. That's why he's not in the NFL." Ah, right. That's what it is.
That's what it was.
So-
He took the fucking 49ers to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like fucking the guys that started after they blackballed his ass. That one dude that threw fucking 5 interceptions in one half. This motherfucker's got a contract.
If Mike Glennon can play in the NFL,
Right. Old giraffe neck motherfucker looking like the white Merton Hanks. Fuck out of here.
Hey. So before we went on, we were joking. We have a guest to introduce, so I'm gonna. We'll add, first of all, hello, Big Hussein. Hello, our producer extraordinary, Michelangelo Famigni. And we have a guest with us today. Mikey, I'll let you introduce your pal.
Hi everyone. This is my good friend, the Quiet Gorilla, and he will. And he will.
Where's your god now?
He will introduce himself. He's very good at it.
Yeah. Well, I guess for tonight, I'm the token Canadian. Digging
Yeah.
on America.
Oh, you're a Canadian too, so you have some real experience with single payer healthcare. So we're gonna bring back the 4 down territory for today. So I hope
It's
that all
called
of you have
Omaha.
Can we
a question.
please
So
let him
Omaha.
Can we please let him
We're
finish
gonna ask you.
introducing himself?
Yeah, I don't think he was done.
He just did. He said he's Canadian. What else do we
No,
have to
that
know?
doesn't. How the fuck we
wanna
gonna
know-
ask him? We got
After-
4 questions to ask. How we gonna ask him some questions in 4 down territory when we don't know what the fuck he does?
That's how
don't
we
know what his
learn.
life's
Once I
been.
learned the guy's a Canadian, I don't want to know shit else about him. There's nothing to talk about.
Now, Dutch, I don't want to mute you, but I will. Let's let him say.
I have mute powers also. Go ahead. Yes, please tell us more about you, and then we'll get into Omaha.
Okay. Other than being a Canadian,
That's all that matters.
yeah, all that matters is that I'm a Canadian, and if tonight's topic is about healthcare, then I know a little bit about Canadian healthcare and probably a little bit less about American healthcare. I technically I work at a university. I'm a university administrator, but my background is in applied social science. So I'm a science. I did work as a research scientist, not in healthcare, not in economics, but as somebody who kind of observes politics and social trends and things like that, I probably have something to contribute. I was here on YouTube back when it started. I ended up doing some studies on how our use of this technology was transforming the way that we created community and came together long before things like podcasts were born. After 2 years, I kind of moved on to other topics and then was invited back to do a TEDx about this very topic. So for me, this kind of interaction and gathering with people all around the globe and having conversations about interesting topics is something that I've been fascinated by for decades, right back to the days of Usenet and bulletin boards. So I'm really happy to be here and kind of share some of these ideas and thoughts with you guys.
I don't care about any of that because
Why you gotta be nasty? Why you gotta be nasty, Dutch?
Omaha, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Chicago, Newark,
New Jersey.
Newark.
All right.
Whose
Now we
audible is Newark?
Bakersfield, 21, Hut. Now we're going to get into the Fort on territory.
Joliet.
So for those of you who don't
East
remember
St.
this,
Louis.
East St. Louis in the house. We're going to ask QG here 4 questions. I will ask the question, and then my 2 esteemed colleagues will ask the question, and one of us, probably the guy with the most white privilege here, will end up asking the 4th question, because I doubt that they prepared. But if they did, they can ask the 4th question. Of course, it's not their fault they didn't prepare, because I just decided this right now. So fuck me.
We ain't worried about you.
But anyway, so my question will be the question that we've decided not to do: fuck one, marry one, kill one. We're going to do prank one, marry one, snap one. And snap one is not killing them because they're not dead. They're just out of existence and can come back if Tony Stark gets the gauntlet. So my question for you, QG, is you have to prank one, marry one, snap one. Lauren Boebert, Congressman, Colorado. Ivanka Trump,
Yes. Good.
or former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. Go.
Okay. I'd say that I don't think I could marry Sarah Palin, because I think within the first half hour I just want to be banging my head through a wall. So I would suggest perhaps that I would prank her.
Okay.
Lauren Boebert's fascination with firearms really terrifies me. I just anybody who puts firearms on a shelf behind them and just leaves them lying around the house like that, being a Canadian, I just don't think I could suffer that. So I would have to snap her and her firearms out of existence, which then leaves me marrying Ivanka Trump. And hey, you know what? You could do worse.
Good answer. Solid answer.
So you're gonna marry Maleficent, huh?
He was fucked either way, right? Like,
yep. And you know what? Maybe she's not as bad as her dad. Like maybe there's some dilution. I mean, her mother didn't seem too unreasonable.
In my head, I thought you said Melania this whole time, and I was like, how does he know about her dad? Oh, Ivanka. Okay, that makes more sense now.
all right. So Big Hussein, next question goes to you.
All right. So we were talking about how you were a fire rescue medic.
Yep.
My question is, what's the most gruesome thing you saw in your travels?
Yuck.
Why do you always ask these questions?
Yuck.
Kiss my ass, Dutch. I can ask what the fuck I want.
What's your favorite color? I mean,
I'm not trying to get his number.
no. How many burnt corpses have you seen?
I just said what's
burnt?
the most, no, I didn't say that. I said
I've never seen a
I
burnt.
said what's the most gruesome thing you saw? See, Dutch?
Yeah.
See?
And
See?
I'm
See,
not. Yeah.
He hasn't married Ivanka yet, so he hasn't seen Gruesome.
Damn. What you trying to say, Dutch?
That's up.
QG, holla at your homie. What's up? What you doing?
I think. I mean, probably. It's probably a tie between someone who put their leg through a window and tore their calf muscle out.
Oh.
Yeah, that
Ouch.
was. Yeah,
You are
yeah.
from Canada. Ouch.
Yeah. They put it. They tried to kick the window, but their leg, when they were pulling it back in, got caught on a piece of glass. And it just went- So that one was pretty terrible. But I think perhaps that's right up there with a fellow who dropped a Coke machine on his hand. He was rocking it, trying to get a free Coke.
Yeah.
And the Coke machine came over, and at the last second, in his inebriated state,
Decided
decided
to go catch it.
Yeah, but he decided to go catch it.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
It took
Exactly.
Coca-Cola is
three
a hell of a
fingers,
pop.
just like torn right off and caught under the machine, and he pulled his hand free and then staggered out into the hallway and passed out.
Oh
And so when I got there, I was like, "Where's the fingers?" And I looked in the room. There's a Coke machine flat on the ground and just a streak of blood. And it took like 6 of us to lift the Coke machine up. Yeah. So
I think the calf muscle wins by a finger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's messed up. All right, I got a good one. If you had to move to America, which city would you choose?
Oh, you know what? I've actually given this a lot of thought. And I mean, I grew up in Montreal, which is like less than an hour from the border. So I spent a lot of time on the East Coast US. In fact, I'd spend all my falls down there camping in the Adirondack Mountains. And so the two cities that I would certainly feel comfortable and really think I would appreciate in the US is either somewhere outside of Boston or somewhere outside of Seattle. So the two coasts, because I grew up on coast, I grew up near the water. And I kind of like the kind of, liberal, chill kind of, West Coast, Pacific Northwest or East Coast, Boston, that. And New Hampshire's not bad, but yeah, outside of Boston or outside of Seattle.
Don't get too close to Boston, man. The racism might turn you off.
Yeah, Boston itself,
They're
I've been to a number of times. Like actually in Boston, I'm like, but 40 minutes outside of Boston.
I feel you.
Not too shabby. All right, Dutch, since you're chewing a whole mouthful of food and got your mic muted, go ahead and hit us with your fourth question.
Okay.
Fourth down.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
You can grab one item out of your house. It may not be a firearm, because we're going to assume if you have that, you'd take it.
Right.
And because we don't want you to bore us, we don't want you to grab family pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So assume those are destroyed. What is the one item that you grab from your home despite outside of those two things?
Okay, let's go back.
Well, your family is with you. We'll put it that way. Okay. Your family got it. So it's not the firstborn. You don't have to say that either.
Right. So I was a fire rescue medic. I have
I'm grabbing the fire extinguisher.
I have a bug out bag in my house.
You got a bug out? Okay, there you go.
I have a bug out bag that has food, water, clothing, cash, full first aid kit, fire starting equipment, emergency blankets, and it's
this
in a
podcast
waterproof.
Brought to you by Patriot Supply.
Yeah. So, because I live in an earthquake zone. And so, I just I was also a Boy Scout. So for me, always being prepared is something I just grew up doing. And when you're on the fire, you're like, oh crap, I needed a pocket knife, my backpack that I take to work has a small first aid kit. It's got emergency battery chargers. So I'd either grab my backpack because it has all that stuff anyway, or I'd actually grab my dedicated bug out bag.
Nice.
Fair answer.
Solid answers.
Okay, so you weren't that fun to ask that question to.
You survived the first round.
Well, the other thing is I live on the third floor of an apartment building with only one entrance and exit because I'm on the end unit. And so if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd just stay put because I don't think they could get up. I mean, the elevators would shut down once the power failures. There's only one stairwell on and up, and I could pretty much barricade it. So yeah, I just stay where I am.
And starve to death.
And what the fuck do zombies need to be coming upstairs for anyway?
Right. They're not going to be looking for me.
Eat your brains.
Well, but you see, as I said, I work as a university administrator. The university is like half a kilometer away from me, and I have all the keys to all the food storage. So,
right.
Once a week.
Be like,
once a week.
I am letting eat those bugs out every once a week.
Yeah, once a week he just kind of rappels down the side of the building.
Right.
And then goes get some stuff. Pulls that up on a separate rope. He's good.
Put it in my backpack with all my emergency gear. Come back to the house. Yeah, I'm prepared for the zombie apocalypse. That's nothing. It's the thinking animals that concern me more than the unthinking ones.
The panthers and the cobras.
Well, the other humans
And the Republicans.
Yeah, they're coming up your stairs because you're a socialist.
Yeah,
they're gonna get you.
Give me your health care.
Hey, speaking of Republican rhetoric. Real quick. It's been a fun week. Not only have I gotten back into Kaepernick debates, but on March 4th, Trump took back office. I don't know if anyone noticed.
Oh yeah.
As
Yeah.
as the 19th president.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I guess nobody after Ulysses S. Grant counted, including Reagan, interestingly enough.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So congratulations to QAnon. What you said clearly came true. On top of that, this week has been inundated by talk of Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato Head, and most surprisingly, a reboot of the, I don't know, 12 or 13-year-old Geico commercial, because apparently Republicans are offended by being compared to Neanderthals. It's so easy, a caveman can do it. And the guy goes, I'm offended, and run. I'll have the roast duck with the mango salsa. Mikey, you're a little young, I think, for that Geico commercial. But
how dare you? I do remember that Geico.
Okay, so, but of those three, which do you find the most humorous? Quiet Gorilla, we'll start with you, and then we'll just go around the horn here.
Which do I find the most humorous? I mean,
or of those four, I guess, because there was.
I mean, everything all y'all are doing down there has just got me right weirded out. Like I'm up here watching the news, thinking, okay, I'm not sure I really fully understand what you folks are doing, because like
you're the one thinking about moving here, not us.
No, I only said where I would move if I had to move. I didn't say that I was thinking of moving. The whole March 4th thing, I just really don't understand how you connect those dots. The Dr. Seuss thing is a big misunderstanding, because it was actually his own publishing foundation that decided to just stop publishing those particular books. The Mr. Potato Head thing, they're just making it's actually a smart, capitalist move, because they're just making one product. They still have all the stuff in the box. They just don't have to have two different boxes, and you don't have to buy the male or the female. You just buy a potato head and you make it whatever you want. So that kind of makes some sense. But why your conservative Republican side of the family down there is wigging out over this, I'm left scratching my head.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't. I just don't understand.
Yeah, that one I'm with you 100%. When I thought of that, I was like, well, that's smart, because now they don't have to make two boxes.
Yeah.
They put the girl lips ones in there and the guy lips ones in there, and you use whichever one you feel like using. You can make it a he/she but that's the problem. Kids might make it a he/she.
I think that's kind of offensive.
Yeah, well, it must be, because it came from the deep state.
No, just referring to trans people as he/she's is kind of offensive.
I am being a Republican and calling them what they will call them. So I mean, I don't
want to punch you in the nose. That's what I would do to them.
Yes, you do.
I don't want
to
do
lie.
It, but I will do it. And
I'm not going to say that I don't want to sometimes. Man, I just want to.
Now let me ask an honest question of everybody. Did anyone ever actually own a Mr. Potato Head?
Yes.
I got a potato and we drew some lips on it.
I got a potato in a big pan.
And then we boiled it because we needed to eat it.
I don't know that Mr. Potato Heads were super fucking popular in the first place.
I'm just trying to think of where somebody was like running out. I got a Mr. Potato Head for Christmas.
Well, they were actually very popular when they first came out in the 50s or 60s. They're one of the first like blockbuster toys.
I mean, there were no Pet Rock.
Yeah, and that was a thing too.
Pet Rock, man, that was the shit.
But I certainly, my kids certainly have a Mr. Potato Head. I think it's a Mr.
Did they ask for it, or was it just a gift?
Yeah, it was a gift.
Yeah, no little kid wants a damn potato head when fucking Fortnite is out.
That's Aunt Grace.
Well, my 4-year-old, my autistic 4-year-old loves it though. He makes a whole bunch of, he plays with that thing all the time, but he can't ask for anything, including anything, because he doesn't talk. So yeah, you know what I mean?
That further proves
you buy shit, you throw it at him, and he likes what he likes, and you throw away the rest.
Like, do you know how disappointed as a late 80s, early 90s kid, you know how mad I would have been if I was given a Mr. Potato Head as opposed to like Crossfire.
Right.
Or-
Like, hey,
or even a
where's my
Deca.
Atari? Where's my Atari 5200 at?
Or,
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Or like
Cabbage Patch.
or a Light Bright. I would have taken a Light Bright over a Mr. Potato Head any fucking day. Like
Light bright, making music with light.
It's just it was the weakest fucking toy ever. And the fact that they're trying to like vanguard this is just like Twinkies. This is Twinkies 2.0. When everyone got all fucking bent out of shape because they were gonna stop making Twinkies, I was like, hey man, because I work in the grocery industry. I'm like, hey, when's the last time you bought a Twinkie? Oh, about 15, 20 years. I'm like, and that's why they don't make them anymore.
They're
No one
ripping your
needs
childhood
these
away
things.
Here's an interesting fact. I've never had a Twinkie.
Are you fucking serious?
They're
I'm
disgusting.
serious. We were talking about
They
this.
are not disgusting.
They are.
They are bad for you, but
They
they're
don't-
fucking delicious.
They don't taste. They're not better than a ho-ho. Quit playing.
Suzy Q's
Swiss-
are the best.
Swiss rolls.
Okay. Do you?
I've never
Okay,
had
wait.
Swiss either.
Mikey. Do you put them in the refrigerator or not?
Hell yeah, because they got the extra crunch.
Yeah.
Fucking yes.
Extra
Yeah.
crunch on them
Although-
bitches.
Although the Little Debbie Swiss cake roll from back in the day, I thought was superior.
It's the,
I
that's,
still
what
get,
I'm-
I got a box of them upstairs.
that's the best snack. Twinkies
The Little
got
Debbie
deaded
food.
by Lil Debbie. She's the one that deaded your brand. Don't be
Now
mad.
hold on,
and try to like revive Hostess because they've been putting out weak ass.
Well, they bought Dolly Madison and assimilated the zinger.
I didn't see that movie. Is that the Billy Madison 2?
No, it's Dolly Madison used to be the competition back in the 80s.
Yep.
The zinger was a Dolly Madison product, and now it's
Zinger's trash too.
I used to fuck zingers up.
No,
yeah.
they're
I
a
like
little
zingers
smaller.
because they have more. You got the frosting and the frosting. So
Yeah,
I used to like
Number-
and those zebra cakes. Remember those zebra cakes?
Yep.
That's what I'm about to say. Number
Yeah.
1, Swiss roll. Number 2, zebra cake. Number 3, the peanut butter wafer chocolate
Yeah.
joint.
Mhm.
I don't
The
remember.
Nutty Buddies.
Nutty
No,
Buddy.
no,
that
no.
was all peanut butter.
No, it was just called the peanut butter bar, I think, or something.
something
It was.
like that. Them 3.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did you
Twinkies?
take the peanut butter bar and like separate it long
Nah,
ways?
I ain't have time for all that shit.
I did.
I was trying to fuck
yummy.
that bitch up. What up, Aunt Jared? What up, Jenna? Yes.
So I'm starting to understand perhaps the roots of some of the healthcare concerns in the U.S. Since you guys talk about snack foods. 'Cause I don't know I don't even know what more than half of this stuff is. I mean, I literally lived 40 minutes from the border, and yet the moment we crossed into the U.S. and went to the corner store, I was like, my mind was blown by all the variety of
Hey,
snack food.
you got Hort. What is it? TJ Hortons or Ted Hortons?
Tim
whatever?
Hortons.
Tim Hortons
Yeah.
up there. So
Yeah.
you know
But-
about junk food.
Hey, now,
Well,
Mikey.
But we
I
don't
know-
have
I know
like
Dutch doesn't know about it.
packaged junk food like to the variety that you do. And it actually, I grew up in Quebec, which because it's a French province, you can't sell things unless it has French language on the wrapping. And since most of the stuff manufactured in the US only has English, then it just it wasn't allowed in. Like you just couldn't, like we didn't have Pizza Hut for like 15 years because Pizza Hut's not a French word. And we used to have to drive to
don't want that
Plattsburgh
anyway.
to go to Pizza Hut. And so whenever we'd cross over the border, I'd be like amazed at all these amazing snack foods. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. So like, I've never had Twinkies. I've never had Swiss rolls. I've never had, like, I just never had this stuff.
Oh, the Snickers.
yeah.
You ever had a Snickers?
Yeah. Snickers we've got. Yeah.
Kit Kat.
What?
Kit Kat. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you see, we got other stuff. We've got Coffee Crisp.
Oh.
What about
Yeah.
y'all have Toblerone there?
This podcast
we got
brought to you
Toblerone.
by Coffee Crisp.
Yeah. And have you guys got Crispy Crunch?
Nope.
Oh, what's up with all this crisp shit?
Yeah.
Is that Cadbury stuff?
Yeah, it's Cadbury's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because
Okay.
they
Yeah.
decided to actually like print their shit in the language that will get them.
Yeah. And you guys
into
got
the other countries.
Maltesers?
No, what is
got
that?
them.
I only see all this stuff at
Yo,
in the Hispanic aisle.
Them is Whoppers.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're slightly different. They're less sweet. They're more malty and less sweet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, do you want some balls that are less sweet?
More malty balls.
Maltesers. For more malt in your ball.
So yeah, I mean, just listening to you guys talk about the snack foods, it makes me realize either how much I missed out on not being able to access all this American snack food,
Right.
or how much it spared my heart.
Hey, you know something though? You missed out on all the hood candies too, like cherry clams,
Oh hell yeah.
Alexander the grapes. Jingles. You ever had a jingle?
Chico
It was
stick.
the softer version of now and later's.
Chico stick.
Chico sticks.
That was like
Bos-
the inside of a Butterfinger.
Yeah, Boston
a
baked
stick.
beans.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
good shit.
We,
Oh,
well,
that'd be horrible.
Johnny Appleseeds.
the few things we do get, they take longer to get over the border. Like just the other day, I found flaming hot Cheetos puffs, and I was like, "These are so good." I just got them. Like I don't know, and people in the U.S. are like, "Oh, we've had those for years." I'm like, "But
Yeah.
but they are so. I actually prefer them better than the crunchy ones." I'm like, "These are amazing," but like they just
You had
arrived.
Takis yet?
Which ones? Takis? Yeah, we got Takis.
Okay, good.
They have a, especially in BC, they have a huge Asian influence because they have like
Yeah.
the craziest sushi, like
We
on
do.
Earth. They're like top 5 on Earth for sushi.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've got some pretty amazing Asian influence here in British Columbia because we're on the Pacific Rim. But it's like you know, a snack food in the U.S. has to exist there for 20 years to figure out whether it's worth exporting over the border into Canada. And then we're like, whoa, something new. And then the Americans are like, we've had that for a decade. So
I'm
And we've also had diabetes.
Hi, I'm
also have
Wilford Brimley.
you have a shorter
I
lifespan.
do like Toronto though. I spent a couple weeks in Toronto.
Yeah.
For work, and it's they have some pretty good food in Toronto. I will say. I'll tell you, there's some fine dining there. They have some the pizza there is not terrible.
they've got some really good Greek food too down on the dance floor.
Toronto and ate pizza, Dutch. You trash.
He's American, dude.
Why would you
He's
go there and
American.
eat pizza? Eat some of the local.
Because that's what the company bought.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, QG, or how far are you from Toronto?
A million miles.
A million miles, yeah, half the continent away.
Look,
Really?
look.
Yeah.
Look, white people always say black people look alike. Americans always say they figure every Canadian city is right next to the next one.
No.
You know,
I know
even though
that. I know that the land is
Van-
vast.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how far BC was from Toronto.
Probably about 4,500 kilometers.
If you
God
think,
damn.
if you think of like
Which
Pacific
is what,
Northwest,
2,700 miles, something like that, or 2,200 miles.
if you think
3
Pacific,
miles.
if you think Pacific Northwest, like where Portland is, you only have to go up maybe like what is it, QG, like 100 miles?
To Toronto, Vancouver?
No,
Or
from
to
like
where I am?
Portland to like Vancouver.
Oh yeah. It's
like
like an
100.
afternoon. Yeah, like you know, you can leave at lunchtime and get there easily for supper or early supper.
They're only 2 or 3 hours away from like Portland, and then Toronto is way over there by Niagara Falls and shit. So they're
Right.
I see. It's like New York and California.
correct.
Yeah, pretty close because Canada is actually slightly wider.
Yeah.
So it's from one end of the country to actually I drove it about 7 years ago.
It's a robusto. Canada's a robusto.
Yeah. And I went
No.
through the
Robusto's
U.S.
short. See, get your shit right. It's a Churchill.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Fuck outta
So I went down through the U.S. when I drove across the country because I wanted cheap gas and better snack foods.
That's a good idea.
Is your
Yeah,
gas
and
more there?
Oh yeah, because of taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Canada and taxes are synonymous.
What does a gallon of gas cost there?
I don't. How many liters is a gallon?
Yeah. We gotta do some.
How much is a
conversions.
liter? How much is a liter, dude?
A liter of gas for
is
like
it
the
like
94
2.5?
octane is like $1.56.
I think
So-
it's 2.5.
So a liter is a gallon like 2.5, so it'd be like $3, probably $3.75, I guess, for a gallon. If it's
Too
2.5.
bad. That's not too bad. I thought you were gonna say like $5-6 a gallon.
Yeah, I want to double check myself
Yeah, let's
on
double
that.
check the conversion on liters to gallons.
I think it's about 2.5.
I'm on it.
So, all right, Mike, you'll get
All
more.
right,
so-
all right, QG. While he's doing that,
Yeah.
What is your favorite?
1
book?
liter equals 0.26 gallons.
just talk
So
over-
it's
Four.
under 4, but it's
But almost
it's under
exactly
4, but
four.
but barely.
Yeah. So that would
Yeah.
make a premium gasoline about $6 and
Who buys premium gasoline?
I do.
I do. Well, it's because you and I
Oh.
both drive German cars.
German car?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a supercharger in my car.
Oh,
Makes
if
it
you have a
go very
supercharger,
Can
yeah.
can I ask my fucking question now?
Oh, you're right.
No.
QG.
Yeah.
What is your favorite book on the bookshelf behind you?
My favorite book on the bookshelf behind me.
down.
Wow.
It's the one with the weed in it. It's the one with the weed in it.
The Bible.
I'd say the
Bible.
one with the gun hidden in it, but I haven't got a gun hidden in it. Yeah, I'm not Lauren Robert. I mean, one of the books.
Well,
that's there,
nobody's perfect.
one of the there's actually was up on the next shelf up. Is actually the book called Belief, and it's about why humans tend to believe things.
Like QAnon conspiracies and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I one of my degrees is in sociology, and I was studying cults, and I was trying to understand how it is that people kind of go down that rabbit hole, and even when they've got family and friends trying to pull them back, they just kind of like once they start spiraling into this whirlpool of, I called it the whirlpool of weird, and it just kind of goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Okay.
And so it's kind of.
Here's to you, Mr. Kurt Cult Wormhole Dropper.
Mr. Cold Wormhole Dropper, lost forever.
The president's coming down on March 4th.
19th president.
The media said what? Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
It's about $4.50 a gallon.
Yeah, $1.56 per liter
Okay.
times 4.
So premium gas in California, if you go to Chevron, is probably about $3.90 right now. If you go to anywhere else but Chevron, it's probably $3.60. So Chevron, for some reason, thinks they get to charge like 30 cents a gallon more than everybody else. I don't get that, but that's why I don't be going to Chevron.
Maybe there are
You
stores
go
that
to
put it
Sunoco?
back.
You go to Sunoco?
No, we have Arco.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
We
I
have
heard
Arco.
Arco.
We have Arco. Arco used to be out in Illinois years and years and years ago, and then
There's still a couple around. You got to look, smaller.
no, they
towns.
all became BPs.
Really.
Yeah, and now they're becoming so Arco and little fun Arco and Amoco both became BP, and then now they're changing some of the BPs back to Amicos out that way. But no, Arco's on. We have Arco, we have Chevron, and we have a Texaco here and again, a Sinclair here and again, and then Shells.
Sinclair.
So yeah, so and Sinclair used to be part of Arco too, I believe. So, but anyway, you guys, anything else you want to talk about, unless you want to get into the Topeka?
You know something? You know what I want to talk about?
What do you want to talk
I
about,
want to talk about something.
Mr.
I wanna-
Potato?
I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, we skipped over Dr.
Me.
Seuss.
Oh, yeah.
I don't fuck Dr. Seuss. I want to talk about
Well, you can't. He's long dead.
small segue. I want to talk about the major sports news outlet media blackout of the Les Miles sex scandal.
I haven't heard about it. So.
Me neither. I was just gonna tell you.
Exactly. So
Haas, I gave up on sports unless it's themed.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
but it's about sex.
So it's not about the sports; it's about the sex.
It's about the sex,
cool.
and it's all right. So
Is that the college guy?
yes,
College coach?
so Les Miles, back in 2013 and 2015 or so, was
Oh,
the head coach
yeah,
of the
okay.
LSU Tigers.
right. And he
Now,
just got hired somewhere else.
While
Right.
he was the head coach
Mhm.
of the LSU Tigers, this motherfucker was texting female staff members, kissing on female staff members, suggesting they go to the hotel, and otherwise generally harassing female staff members to the point where
What does he think? He's in the Senate?
hold on. To the point where the school banned him from having contact with female staff members while he was there. They didn't fire him, but they banned him from being around female staff members because he made them that uncomfortable. So then, after he finally loses enough, they fire him. He takes a year off, and Kansas, the Jayhawks, hire him as their new head coach. Now, they say they didn't know about this shit. But what type of background checker are you if you don't know about this shit before you hire this guy, right? So now the independent investigations have come out and gotten to the public because some outlets sued to get the investigation report out, and this is the crux of my argument. CRUX, crux of my argument or my
The crust, like a PB and
the
J.
crust. So when all of this shit comes out, Kansas puts him on administrative leave, and then they mutually agree to part ways. Why is it that there's this media blackout, number one, around the sports media world on this story, number one? And number two, why do some people, after sex scandals, agree to mutually part ways, and other folks that have a mediocre season get fucking fired? Or even a good season, get fired?
I have two questions.
Yes.
Why was Homeboy given so many chances? Seems a bit strange to me. And on the same page with that, after he had blown his first 10 chances, what it sounds like, couldn't someone else have used that job? Aren't people always looking to be a head coach somewhere? It's not like they had like a limited pool of talent to pull from.
Right.
Someone
And
could
even-
have definitely
and-
used that job and said, yeah, I'm not going to just go up and start sexually abusing people.
And
So I
even
got it,
deeper,
right?
and even deeper than that, on a toxic masculinity and fucking good old boy network and fucking patriarchy progression page, what message is this sending? Oh, since the team is winning some games, we're gonna let these women get, we're gonna make it so that they're insulated, but we won't take. Do you not know that his mere presence is a trauma to these people, these women, and they don't care? And it's like, I'm gonna sound like a bleeding heart or some shit, but god damn it, the shit that women have to go through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because guess what? You told all the women on that staff that, hey, wins are more important than your having a positive work environment. And then, what is the power that the NCAA or LSU has over sports media where they don't talk about it? It's only on local outlets that are really talking about this. But ESPN, Fox Sports Net, all of these places, they're not talking about it at all. At all. And it's really disappointing to me. And I wanted to get on that soapbox real quick and say something publicly about, because I love First Take. I love fucking, yes. And I love Undisputed. And I was looking, I wanted to see what they had to say about this.
They didn't do nothing.
And it was dead silence. They talked about Dak. They talked about Dak for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
How many times can you go over this motherfucker's contract, dude?
Dak and LeBron is the only thing they talk about on that show anymore, and that's probably why I don't watch it as much.
Yeah, and you know something, I don't watch it either. I don't watch it as much as either.
I'm tired of Skip comparing LeBron's. He only got 25 points that game. Jordan would have got 30, and then Skip or Shannon gets all heated about it, and then they go back and forth. That can't be the show.
Right.
That can't be the whole show every time.
Right.
And that's very surprising to me.
It's surprising to me that they wouldn't talk about it.
Since they've been, I wouldn't even say progressive, but they've been a lot more forward thinking in a lot of their shows as of late. And to just like, completely brush this under the rug is kind
like,
of
like it's on the crawl that goes below the show. They say, oh, Les Miles out as Kansas Jayhawks coach as they agreed to mutually part ways, but no discussion of it at all. As far as a Title IX issue, as far as a women's rights issue, as far as the corruption of sports and prioritization of wins and money over people, nothing. It's fucking disappointing. And I wanted to say something about it because it's been pissing me off. It's really been bothering me.
Are you a college sports guy at all, QG?
Not really, because varsity sports in Canada is nowhere near what it is in the US. I was a varsity athlete myself, but I don't think even my best friends knew that because it was just such like not a thing. But to Big Haas's question, it's something I mean, if you want to go down this rabbit hole, because it happens in all institutions, it's not just universities, it's not just sports. That kind of misconduct between, largely males towards females is probably a lot more prevalent than we realize.
Welcome to the Catholic Church.
Yeah. And institutions will pay a lot of money to kind of have them investigated, and then maybe have to go through legal stuff, and so it's become almost an institution of itself to kind of manage these cases. So the last university I work at decided that they were going to get a group of people inside the management team trained to be misconduct investigators, and I was one of the people tapped. So I've actually been an investigator for sexual misconduct inside higher education institutions, and as the investigator, I just do my investigation, then I submit my report to human resources, or I submit my report to the executive committee, and then they have to make decisions. But there's times where I know what I found, I know what I reported, and yet the outcome is like what happened, and then you find out, well, because this person lawyered up, or this person lawyered, or this person's threatened a lawsuit, or they mutually agreed to part ways, which is one way of saying that they held a gun to the person's head, and they're like, okay, I will bow out without threatening lawsuits. But I've also seen them where there has been lawsuits, and so it's such, and then you start getting political influence from boards and donors, and and in cases of varsity athletics, which is like a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States, and you have a winning coach, and you've got boosters who are like, oh, if you get rid of that coach, then I'm not going to be giving you my donations every year. And so it's such a deep, dark, murky, twisted hole when you start. And so, it's sadly, as an old white guy that works in administration, there are guys that are like, it is not worth the mess to open this can of worms. We'll just pay them off, or keep them, or not talk about it, it's just terrible. It's hard. It's really hard. And as someone who doesn't make the decisions, but someone who does the investigations, it breaks my heart sometimes to know what I know, and then to watch what the outcome is and not be able to say anything about it.
Right.
Aunt Jer's in the chat. She wants to know, what was your sport, QG?
I was a swimmer.
Me too. Not varsity. Not varsity. Free high school. But it's
Michael Phelps versus QG. Go.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps has like the most perfectly built swimmer's body ever. Just physiologically, we don't stand a chance.
No. Yeah, it's funny, because one of the things I find interesting about sports is not necessarily the sports itself, but the way that body, like human morphology, plays for different roles. Like if you look at, football, then you've got your big, slow-moving guys on your defensive side, and you got your fast, quick-fleeted guys, and so even in swimming, your long distance 800, 1500 meter people are very long, they're very narrow, they got really flat muscles, they're able to go long distances with burning very little energy. And then you get your short distance 50s, 100s, 200s, which was like my maximum was a 200. Like my whole event was over in 52 seconds. Like that was it. I would train for 10 weeks to swim for 52 seconds, and that was it. So, but it's the short distance sprinters are very short, they're very broad, they're very, because like 90% of your power is coming out of your upper body, you're just dragging your legs along behind you. So so it's really funny to kind of look at sports and who's like really, really good, then you look at their body shape and you go, these people are just like just perfectly attuned to that particular part of the event.
And Michael Phelps is like 6'30". His feet look like paddles. He's got lungs like a blue whale. Like, it's just not fair.
Yeah,
he should be banned.
But to his imperfection, I think it was one of his nostrils is closed. Is kind of closed off, so he only kind of breathes out of one nostril.
Yeah, which means he always has to breathe out of one side of his head, which means that his symmetry's off.
You can't alternate your strokes, right?
Yeah. Now in my event, I could swim the entire event without breathing.
Right.
Because I'd be over in like 50 meters.
Yeah, like I used to get yelled at by the coach for coming up for air on the 50.
Yeah.
Like, why? You're almost done.
Like, what are you doing?
You're
what
almost
are you doing?
done. Just finish, and then you can breathe.
Because
okay.
Yeah. Because when you come off the block for your start, you can make it halfway down the pool before you even surface. You swim 8 strokes. Exactly.
They're like, what are you doing? Keep your head in the water and just go. You're almost done.
Yeah.
You pansy.
Right?
Dutch.
What the fuck?
Wow, way to go, Dutch.
Microphone fall down. Go boom. Okay.
So what did you want to jump in on the college football scandal? The Jayhawks coach?
No, because it's par for the course. I mean, we saw this with Sandusky. How long did they cover that up for? You know, we've seen it with there was something at the University of Illinois or Iowa, if I remember correctly, from some time a couple years ago. I think there was both actually. It was like one of the coaches at Illinois was like helping to haze the kids or something like that. It's, you know, it might have been Iowa, but
Iowa had the strength coach that was racist.
you know, it's
He just got hired by Urban Meyer.
that might be yeah. But
you know.
every and that's the guy who's he claims plausible deniability on that, but I don't really give plausible deniability too easily these days.
I think racism must be some sort of like theological, like a mental defect. Because if you think you're gonna like talk crazy to a linebacker who's like 400 pounds and he can just squash you like a bug and just smear you across the floor, but in your head you think, you dirty man, like you thought that would go well. There's something not connected anymore. Like you've lost a little bit of touch with reality where you thought, I'll be safe. I am white. It's like
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I've got on my WP cape.
Right. It's like even if
caramba!
He can't see me.
Even if I thought even if I wanted to be racist against, like, let's say, Japanese people. If there was 100 samurais in front of me, I'd probably bite my tongue. Right? Just
Well, you know
shut
what?
up.
These guys know that they're hanging scholarships over these people, so
Man,
they feel like they have some power.
that scholarship ain't finna save you from these hands.
Trying to tell you.
These hands come for free.
Why are you home, John? I whooped his ass. That's why.
Oh, it's all over YouTube. I fucked old boy up. Buddy
Here's
gotta
the link.
go. Here's the link. My GoFundMe to get me back into college is right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm glad that I graduated before YouTube or even like cameras in telephones.
Yes.
All the evidence of the shenanigans I got into are celluloid.
It's not on camera.
Not even that. That shit is just stories between friends.
Yeah.
There might be a very blurry 1 megapixel camera on someone's razor.
Right.
You know?
Not even that. I'm so old, man. It'd be like, man, you talking about a straight VHS tape, maybe.
Somebody had a camcorder.
And I think she got rid of that tape.
And that degrades.
Well, they got the evidence. They got the evidence.
Degrades.
They got the evidence. They just can't get it transferred over to digital because it costs so much damn money.
Yeah,
they can't find a VCR to take to the courtroom to properly prosecute.
I gotta watch 42 hours. Yeah, right. I gotta watch 42 hours of tape to get to that 1 second where Haas called me that mean name. I'm out of time. I fell asleep.
Right. Well, as a zillennial, like an X and a millennial, there's a very subtle subgroup there, which I like to identify as, because millennials are stupid and they're babies to me. Like they're all like 15 years younger than me, and I don't think that's fair that they get to be in my generation. So you elder statesmen, why don't we just go around the horn here? Just tell us about all the nasty shit you did in college. Hold on, let me make sure we're recording this. Yeah, we're all recording. So if you guys want to just, out yourselves, just pull any skeletons out of the.
I murdered. I killed.
Oh, and that's all the time we have for this segment. All right,
Yes.
What's next on the chopping block?
Anything that required me to drink so much alcohol to do something nasty, I don't remember anymore.
That's a good line. That's a good line. I'm gonna have to remember that. I don't recall.
Okay, Brett Kavanaugh.
I don't want my kids knowing. I don't want my kids knowing any of the depravity I engaged in.
With Squiggy and Boof, or what's his face?
Oh, fuck. It wasn't with dude.
No, he boofed.
I'll tell you that much right now.
He boofed with Squiggy and was it Judge?
I don't know.
The other guy?
Yeah, it's
something like that.
Some stupid shit that they were.
Most of my bad shit did not involve guys.
I boofed Squiggy.
I didn't go to college, so.
Oh my god!
I lucked out on all that. I went to work instead. I went to work. So
college was.
All right.
Anyway,
and that's the show, folks.
Why don't we just get on over to the topic here? And
the dumb stuff that people got into in college is how I paid my way through school.
Exactly. Kicking fucking windows out and shit.
Yeah. You
And
do
pulling
stupid shit in
That's
school.
just my. You know, when you told that story about the dude's calf muscle, my calf started twitching.
He was a soccer player too. He was varsity soccer.
Oh damn! Well,
Yeah,
he wasn't
that just
varsity no
ruined his
more.
career. Yeah, he was done.
How did he not clip an artery and bleed out?
He was. I got the call, and I was actually walking to where the call was because it was across the campus, and I saw the blood drops. And I didn't know it was related to where I was going, and I could see them getting bigger and bigger and closer as he was running because he realized he was bleeding more and more. And when I got there,
he was running with no calf.
And when I got there, all his buddies were packing towels around his leg, and I was like, "Okay, how bad is it?" When I pulled the towels back, I was like, "Ho, ho, ho!" And so I called campus police, and I'm like, "I'm not even waiting for the ambulance. Like, we don't have time." Like, I was in the back of the campus police SUV with direct pressure on his calf muscle, getting to the emergency room as fast as we could.
Oh my! Did you know why he did it? Was it some chick that he got pissed off about or something?
That's exactly what it was.
It's always a chick.
Always a fucking ladies. This is the kind of shit you do. You have motherfuckers kicking out windows, pulling their goddamn calf muscle off.
He was at the campus bar. He got into it with some girl and her boyfriend or something like this. Something happened, and he was like just super drunk. He said, fuck this shit. He started walking back to the residences, and then he just started kicking out windows and just caught his leg on one of the pieces of glass.
God
damn.
Disturbing.
Another Canadian comment from the chat. We stole our "Try Our McPizza" sign off of the roof of an undisclosed restaurant on our way home from the bar. Aha.
McPizza was actually pretty decent for fast food pizza. It was. It
was a short. It was a short run.
It was, but it was also really salty. Like, it was really salty. But it was
a little interesting story about that. My uncle was in sales. My uncle Mike, and he worked for the oven company that landed the contract with McDonald's to have that company in their oven in all of the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And like I think they started spending some of that money
before
because I mean this was like $1 million deal. Like, he was going to become a millionaire, and then they pulled the plug on that oven, on that pizza, which therefore pulled the plug on the oven to make the pizza. And that's shitty. As a salesperson, I can empathize with that because that would be pretty shitty. They still made money off of it because they sold the ovens in the first place, but I think they leased them or something like that. But but yeah, so I remember that well. It's a famous thing in my family.
The McPizza.
Yeah.
The McPizza scandal, not to be confused with the Pizzagate scandal.
Right. No, not
possibly the same thing. Possibly the same.
And the Zeds in pizza were sideways golden arches.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and they were like perfect, like personal pan-sized pizzas. Like, it was decent pizza.
It chopped up quarter pounders on top of there.
I love how he called the Zeds.
Who's Zed?
That's some
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's dead.
Zed's dead.
Whose chopper is this? This is Zed's chopper.
No, whose bike is this? It's not a bike, baby.
Not a bike,
it's a
baby.
chopper.
It's a chopper. Whose chopper is this? Zed.
Who's Zed? Listen. Pulp Fiction
fucking
is
hilarious, man.
A 2-hour joyride of one-liners.
100%. 100%.
I mean, the entire movie is just one classic line after another.
So
it's 30 minutes away. I'll be there in 10.
15. Yeah. You said in the wolf? That's all you had to say, motherfucker.
Just because you are a character doesn't mean you have character. Oh, God.
In the back
because of the metric system?
Right.
Since we're here, did anyone watch Coming to America 2?
Not yet.
No, I'm going to watch that. Though I did watch, I have to say, I was going to say this before. Justice, on TJ's recommendation, I watched Justice League Dark and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that a cartoon?
It's on HBO.
Yeah. It's Warner Brother animation.
Fucking, why can't they make a movie?
I've always said that DC has nailed the animation and pooched the movies.
I mean,
Yeah,
Mikey,
they
have you
suck.
seen this? Have you seen
No,
these?
I haven't seen it yet.
They are phenomenal. Like they're awesome. Like I was like that there's flaws to them because they're cartoons, you know.
Yeah.
But they're for animation, I'd totally watch that movie live action.
Yeah.
Speaking of cartoons and animation and all that, there is a new thing on Disney Plus. No, this isn't what the show does anymore, but I have to tell everybody: spend the money, go on Disney Plus, and get Raya and the Last Dragon.
Why? It'll be free in like 30 days.
Dude, it's so
Really?
it's
really that good?
awesome. It's awesome. It's so good.
But my kids like it.
Oh, and I told the missus Famine. I was like, when we have kids, you know how like kids are hella annoying and they want to watch the same movie over and over again. We're only gonna show them this movie because I don't mind watching this over and over.
Like my kids love to watch Avatar.
It's so good. They only dusted me up a little bit. My allergies only got a little activated towards the end because it was being a little too sweet, and I didn't really appreciate them doing the family bonds.
Hey.
Family ties.
I didn't really appreciate that.
Coco got me.
Oh, Coco, I was a fucking weeping mess.
Yeah.
Oh, brought back so many fucking memories of my grandma.
Coco was
before Moana.
Yeah,
Coco
Moana
was
got me too.
Coco was a little bit dark though, like where the old boy turned out to be his grandpa turned out to be not so good.
Asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
thought
If we're spoiling cartoons on this show, we need to stop.
Well,
Okay.
if you haven't seen Coco fucking yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 5 years old.
I didn't watch it until like last month or 2 months ago. Like I'm new to the Coco train. Y'all never told me about Coco.
I went to the theater. I went to the theater and was in there trying to quiet cry.
See, I'm glad, and that's another thing, Dutch. I'm glad that they're not fucking putting movies out and they'll let me watch it at home, especially when it comes to Pixar, because they've been fucking me up lately, and I am not prepared to watch that in public. I did weep openly during Black Panther, and I will never apologize for that.
What?
Wait, what part in Black Panther were you weeping?
Just the fact that the movie was there, I think.
Oh,
as soon as like the beginning story already.
Yeah.
Boba, telling me the story about the Black Panther. I was like, oh shit. And the sand started moving. I was like, oh,
the credits
shit.
started and he started crying.
Yeah, I literally started crying before the movie. And then like my girlfriend at the time, she went out and got like we got like slushies and popcorn, and she came back, and I was like, I'm not getting up. You're not gonna make it in time, and I'm not missing the beginning.
Just get me something to pee in.
And yeah, when she came back, I was already crying, and she's like, "Okay." I was like, "Happy right now."
She was like, "I'm leaving this motherfucker."
Yeah, eventually she did.
And then Wesley Snipes walked in and said, "You didn't ever know I did a black superhero movie? What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Blade was a monster. He wasn't a hero. Sorry, white people who tried to fucking get me to fall in love with Blade all over again. No,
I think Blade
is
is
a hero.
And I like Blade.
I disagree. Blade was great.
Blade was not our Captain America. That's the black people's Captain America. Get the fuck out of here.
No. Yeah, Blade's not black people's Captain America.
Exactly.
No.
So stop trying to portray him as such
He's
and tell me I
people's
had
Morbius.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, right. He's more Morbius than Captain America. I mean, Black Panther is more Captain America.
That's what I'm saying. We finally got a dyed-in-the-wood wool hero. We got a hero, and that was our Black Panther. Blade was like not quite the villain, and he was also half monster. So he was half black, half monster. Get the fuck out of here.
Why we gotta label vampires, man? Why we gotta label?
Yeah, what's wrong with vampires?
You heard what I said. I did not stutter. Half black, half monster.
What's the upcoming politically correct term for vampires? Hemoglobin deficient individuals.
There actually are people hemoglobinly deficient. I mean, are they vampires? But you know, I think the thing that they didn't get to in Black Panther, which they did in the comics, is that T'Challa is actually really smart. Like he's
Yeah.
like genius level intellect.
He's like
Yes.
top 3 in the MCU
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe.
But they seem to
They
transfer
gave
that
it
to
to
his
Suri.
sister. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like in the comics, he and Reed Richards and those guys, I mean, not only has he got, and I think in the MCU they're trying to kind of suggest that the plant that he derives his enhanced strength and everything is actually part of the super serum. Yeah, it's part of the super serum that gave Captain
Soldier
America.
serum. Yeah.
But Captain America's version also had Tony Stark's with the whole experimentation on gamma radiation. That's why Captain America's worked out better than anyone else's. I think. I mean, maybe they're not thinking that far through, but yeah. I mean, T'Challa's got the super soldier serum from the heart. He's got the vibranium suit, and he's got like a genius level IQ. Like,
And
yeah, he's
protected by a god. So he's got magic, superpowers, and technology. Best hero ever.
Way better than that.
Absolutely.
So he's not an atheist.
Sure he is.
His god's real.
All right,
Can you be an atheist if your god actually manifests itself?
Right.
Well, but only under delusion.
No,
Wow.
it's legit.
Well, they were, or not delusion, but the influence of only if they were under the influence. Yeah, they had to be under the influence, so they couldn't see him. So much like what was it, peyote?
Right.
You know, so. But I will
All right,
say,
Dutch, let's go lick the toad. Let's go lick the toad. Come on, man.
But since we're talking pop culture, I'll just throw this one last thing out there. If you didn't watch WandaVision, it's fucking insanity.
Yeah.
The first 3 episodes suck balls.
Yes.
After that, it's, and the last episode was not as great as I would have liked, but it's
Which
it's
episode?
really.
I haven't watched since episode 7. Is there episodes after that?
There's if you watch 7, there you've missed 2, and you've missed the top 2.
Finale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely watch that, and then Falcon
Is
and
it
Winter
10
Soldier.
episodes or is it 9?
There's 9. There's 10 episodes, but the 10th one is just commentary.
Yeah.
And also Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out right next week.
Yes.
When's it coming out on?
The 19th.
The 19th.
No, what platform?
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Oh, hell yeah.
All Disney stuff.
The same day as Snyder Cut drops, by the way.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Wait, what day is that?
But the 19th.
Friday the 19th.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be busy that day.
But in promotion of this, and Haas, I know you watch the show, so you're gonna flip out too. So in promotion of this, they did an Xbox ad with Anthony Mackie where he walks into the video game place and he's like, I've been snapped for 5 years. What did I miss? And they put it on Twitter and he sees this game and he goes, and everybody goes, it's Striking Vipers. He found Striking Vipers and he's gonna go play Striking Vipers.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, why would you pick Anthony Mackie to do a video game ad and not think people are going to remember Striking Vipers? I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's his insanity because the guy was screwing a polar bear. This is.
And why, watching that episode of Black Mirror, I was just like, why do I feel dirty watching this?
just to let you guys know, I am 2 people away from it.
What does that mean?
We're friends.
He lives two doors down.
I'm a friend of a friend.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
so you're
impressive.
Oh, that's great.
What, like they used to say on ESPN radio, we're happy for you.
So you could ostensibly go to Los Angeles and like reach out to him and say, hey, I'm this guy's friend.
You will know. You will know exactly who that person is,
and then he'll invite you to play Striking Vipers.
I don't look like a polar bear, unlike.
Got
him.
Hey, okay, but I'm in. I get to be buddies with Anthony Mackie then. So fuck you. We're closer than you are. I'm his video game buddy.
It won't be fuck me, big boy. It won't be.
That'll be
me.
episode 1. Bucky, or episode 4. Bucky and Sam start playing video game, and the rest of the series gets really strange. So.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great kind of like buddy cop throwback kind of.
That's been gone for a long time, has it not?
Yeah.
Because they kind of screwed the pooch with like the 21 Jump Street, like.
They did it with
but like
Captain Marvel was buddy cop.
Oh yeah.
But I want like a Rush Hour. I want like a Die Hard.
Yeah.
I want like that. And that's the movie that was in question. Anthony Mackie was in with, what the hell is that dude's name? I forgot the other actor. He's Not Butcher.
Stop stealing my thing.
It's called Point Blank. Let's figure out
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my buddy wrote that movie,
Oh.
and he's in it, and it was like a Netflix.
Point Blank.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
So it's on Netflix.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Fuck you.
All right, so I guess
Not
it's
loud.
time we get into the history segment while Mikey looks that up. He can tell us during the cigar review. All right, everyone. So as we get to today's history topic, which you all tuned into a long time ago, but you're just getting to now. So again, on this show, we will talk about a topic in history or politics or sometimes
Frank
from pop
Grillo.
culture. Who?
Frank Grillo.
Oh,
Who?
Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
Who?
I know who that is. I know who that is. He's an actor.
Frank Stallone?
Frank Grillo.
I'm going to stick with Frank Stallone. So as we do on this show, we will talk about a topic from history, a topic from politics, a topic of policy, something maybe from pop culture, and then we will talk about it, examine it, and then reflect on it as it affects us in socio-political arenas today. And today we will talk about a very interesting topic. Now, my 8th grade social studies teacher, Mr. Humble, taught me things. It turns out, after doing my own research, wasn't exactly the whole story. Haas, hope you have your segment ready. So today we will talk about the history, or lack of a better term, the non-history of why we have perhaps one of the world's worst health insurance systems. Medicine was rudimentary for the first colonists who landed in the New World, primarily because very few physicians immigrated to the colonies. Women played a major role in administering care in these days, especially when it came to childbirth. This led to extremely high mortality rates, notably for infants and small children, a trend which would continue for a couple hundred years.
Time out. Are you saying that it's the women because they were women? That's why the mortality rate was so high.
No, because they weren't trained.
No, they weren't trained. They were just said,
"Oh,
you're."
You said because the women were in charge, and then the mortality rate was higher. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound.
That is the history. So again, women played a major role in administering care in these days, and the sentence before that mentioned there were no doctors who decided to come to the New World. They were all people looking for gold or religious freedom or etc. And because of the fact that they just said, here, women, take care of the medical part, especially when it came to childbirth, the lack of medical care led to extremely high mortality rates. Is that better? But that's not from the source material. And I should say, because of the fact that we kind of switched topics right before the show, I should note that I do have a couple of sources for this. I put this together relatively quickly. So this isn't as much me writing as it is the article in this particular case. One of those articles that I'm citing here is a brief history of universal health care from PNHP. And there's a couple others which I'll put into the links. So thank you to those who we are sourcing. Now, during the Civil War, more soldiers died of disease than from fighting. Confederacy conditions were particularly brutal due to severe shortages of medical supplies and physicians. Lack of hygiene, cramped quarters, and other things brought about epidemics of childhood diseases like measles, mumps, chickenpox, whooping cough, as well as dysentery and typhoid fever. Another Pulp Fiction reference. So he died of dysentery. The Civil War did usher in progress in the form of surgical.
I remember dying of dysentery on the Oregon Trail. I took that trail several times.
In the video game?
It was always the wagon would like flick me off and I'd break a fucking femur. Then I'd fucking die from that, or I'd get fucking dysentery. And then I was like, oh, let me just look up what dysentery. Oh, I had violent diarrhea until I died.
And because he had a watch up his ass. So the Civil War did usher in progress in the form of surgical techniques, research, and care facilities. The Union built army hospitals in every state, and proactive medical organizers achieved considerable progress thanks to well-funded United States Army Medical Department. Numerous other new healthcare-related agencies were also formed during this time, raising public consciousness about healthcare. The American Medical Association, AMA, came into prominence by 1900, and its membership grew to half the physicians in the country. Most healthcare was provided as fee for service, with payment due at the time of care. Thus, some private insurance pools and employer-provided health care started slowly to trickle in. Now, Teddy Roosevelt, who took office in 1901, believed that health insurance was important and said, quote, "No country could be strong whose people were sick and poor," even though he didn't leave the charge for stronger health care in America and left it to the states and private organizations, such as unions. One of the organizations involved in advancing healthcare for American workers was the American Association of Labor Legislation, or AALL. We'll call them AL, who drafted legislation targeting the working class and low-income citizens, including children. Under their proposed bill, qualified recipients, and again, this is the early 1900s, would have received sick pay, maternity benefits, and a death benefit of $50 to cover funeral expenses.
$80.
$50 holla. Unions repeatedly denounced this healthcare insurance as an unnecessary reform that would create a system of state supervision over our health. They worried that government-based insurance would weaken unions by taking their role or usurping their role in providing social benefits.
Time out.
The commercial, yes,
I think we're still there.
I think you are. That's a very astute point.
Because if you don't have a job that has good health benefits, you're fucked. And
Fucked.
that is just, it's the most backwards, crazy thing ever. Is I spend a amount that I do my healthcare that I do paying for the part of, which is supposed to provide my health. I have to pay an extra incentive for my healthcare, and who's supposed to be providing the healthcare. My benefits are dropping every time they negotiate. And having been 10 years in the same union, it's noticeably less. Noticeably.
Well, the unions have been a big issue with this, and they tie themselves in with the commercial insurance industry because they also oppose this ancient, as far as U.S. goes, reform or health insurance plan, because it covered funeral expenses. So why would commercial insurance be mad about funeral expenses? Well, it was a big conflict because this would have pulled the rug out from under the multi-million-dollar commercial life insurance industry. So they opposed national health insurance proposals. In the aftermath of World War I, there was another attempt to nationalize U.S. healthcare, and a couple more just around and before World War II, as FDR made the first couple of attempts at incorporating a system. However, they both ran into the same opposition: American exceptionalism and the focus on small r Republican democracy as a superior form of government. Big Hussein, to explain this, a brief world history on healthcare is needed. And for that, I give you the voice of Burl Ives.
I owe you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Big Hussein.
European countries have had for some form of social or national insurance for nearly as long as the U.S. has been trying to get it. One of the first systems began in Germany in 1883. Other countries, including Austria, Hungary, Norway, Britain, Russia, and the Netherlands, followed all the way through 1912. Sweden subsidized mutual benefit societies formed by workers in 1891, and Denmark, France, and Switzerland followed suit. Ironically, the German system was implemented by a conservative, if not near fascist regime, as a means to outgun the Socialist Party, using protection as against the cost of sickness as a way of turning kindness to power.
That was deep.
This allowed conservatives. Yeah, thank you, Burl.
You're
This
welcome.
allowed conservatives and capitalists in charge of the newly forming Blue Cross Blue Shield organization, as well as unions and others, to libel the efforts for a national healthcare system as un-American. And here's what we mean by that. The government commissioned articles denouncing German socialist insurance after World War I and called it a Prussian menace, inconsistent with American values. Other efforts during this time, such as the California Social Insurance Commission and similar organizations in New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Illinois, also had efforts aimed at health insurance. But the Red Scare immediately after World War I, when the government attempted to root out the last vestiges of radicalism, opponents of compulsory health insurance associated it with Bolshevism and buried it in an avalanche of anti-communist rhetoric. This happened again to the FDR proposals before and during World War II, which notably the 1943 Wagner-Murray Dingle Bill, which say that 3 times loud, which called for compulsory Dingle Bell, Wagner-Burry, Dingle Bell. We want you to have health insurance, but we are communist. Woo! Which called for compulsory national insurance funded by payroll tax. Interesting idea. Saw enormous oppositions, and these antagonists launched a scathing red baiting attack on the committee. In fact, saying one of its key supporters was a conduit between the International Labor Organization of Switzerland and the United States, and framed the Swiss as an awesome political machine bent on world domination. Some of them were Jews.
The Swiss?
The eternally neutral people. Yep, that was them.
Yes. Harry Truman supported universal health care after the Second World War, but once again, fear was used to diffuse its popularity. As health insurance became entangled in the Cold War and its opponents were able to make socialized medicine a symbolic issue in the growing crusade against the evil communists.
Which they still do now. They still do that.
Which they still do now.
The same playbook. It's socialism.
Of course.
Socialism.
In fact, because of Truman, the ACA charged members an extra $25 each to resist national health insurance. They spent $1.5 million on.
Wait. They charged them $25. What year was it?
This would have been right after World War II.
Yeah, that's as much as health insurance cost.
Mm-hmm.
They could have paid for the health insurance with
and they did this
money for health insurance. They only made $50.
You're probably close to right. And $25 they charge them today. That would have been what, a couple thousand. And this is important because, this is one of the most, this was at the time, the most expensive lobbying effort in American history. And really gave rise to lobbying in the first place, as we know it today. So in fact, they had one pamphlet that said, would socialized medicine lead to socialization?
Hey, Dutch.
Lenin thought so.
Dutch, I'm going to pause you for 1 second. Your connection's a little bit fuzzy on me. Your video's been going for a minute, and your vocal just completely roboted on. So maybe my connection went down to a little bit there, but it seems like it's coming back. So is it good now? Your picture is still super pixelated from the beginning. If you want to maybe
why don't you guys comment on what I've talked about so far, and let me see if I can remedy this.
Okay. Just to give you a heads up, I didn't want to actually interrupt you like I normally. But QG, you live in the civilized world in North America. How does this news strike you?
Well, it's actually, to me, it's really interesting because, of course, as a Canadian where we have single payer, what people call socialized healthcare, I never understood how Canada and the U.S. diverged on that point. But in listening to Dutch's history of it, it now makes a lot more sense to me to figure out where were these kind of critical decision making where the US was like, and I mean, to Big Haas's point, it's like socialism, evil socialism, and that whole Red Scare thing that seemed to be promoted in the US at multiple points in the history, particularly around the whole Bolshevik stuff in the First World War and then the McCarthy era afterwards. It's like it just kept polarizing and pushing the US further and further away from the idea of anything socialist, where Canada didn't seem to have that same effect. And so when we first started floating out the idea of a single payer socialized healthcare system in the 60s, there wasn't this anti-socialist ideology that was rampant in the populace. And it just got a toehold. And then within a decade, it was just kind of a given that everybody had access to healthcare. So it actually really helped me understand where the US kind of went right, where Canada went left.
And that's super sad for me.
It is.
I feel like US and Canada are pretty, I mean, the US makes a ton. We put out a lot more products. We have like, what is it, like 4 times the people, 5 times the people, something like that?
10.
And
yeah,
it's just super disappointing that we're still not providing healthcare for this many. Like, we have more people uninsured. That's like double the population of Canada.
Yeah.
And we're just all walking around living our day-to-day life like,
yep,
that's fine.
And I think, and I have actually given that a lot of thought over the years, especially because I have American cousins, and whenever I have conversations with them, and I talk to other Americans and about, I mean, in here we get American faculty members that come up, and when they are told about their Canadian coverage, I actually, no word of a lie, I've seen people cry when they're told that. Yeah, you can go to any hospital and any doctor and just get coverage and not have to worry about it. Whether you have, whether you're making, $38,000 a year or $138,000 a year, you're covered. Whether you're, somebody suffering from cancer and is a IV drug user living in, tenement housing, or you're somebody who owns multiple houses and making $1 million a year, you have coverage. And so I've always wondered about how the American populace and the government could justify not adopting a single payer socialized healthcare, where having access to healthcare should not have a barrier that is related to your ability to leverage money.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Tell them why, Big House. Let them know. You don't know.
The myth of meritocracy. Okay. Where people are like, well, if you didn't work for it, you shouldn't get it, which is bullshit. And the myth of American exceptionalism. And anything that I don't know how it's happened, but there's this myth of it's a handout. Yep. No, you're paying taxes for it. So how is it a handout? It's not a fucking handout. It's it's a right, because guess what? You pay so much for fucking aspirin and shit when you go to the doctor, because everybody else that can't afford healthcare goes to the emergency room and gets it, and they can't pay for it because they don't have coverage. So those costs get passed along to you. There's a reason why medicines cost way more here than abroad.
Yeah.
And this this rugged individualism myth, this myth of meritocracy, and this, big, strong American, I do everything on my own, I don't need handout. Me, American patriot. Me, American patriot, I work with my hand.
What is this?
I splash the pot whenever I want, pay that man his money. It boggles my mind how that mindset, and people don't understand that has been conditioned into you in order to keep the elites elite and keep you fucking doing what you're doing. Like in the poorest states in this country, QG, in the poorest states in this country, these mugs, nope, I'm not voting for no damn universal health care. No, I can't get my teeth fixed, but so what? So that's why, because here, how many people in Canada where you live drive around in Ford F-150s with big Canadian flags hanging off the back of?
Only in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who have pickup trucks and even some Ford F-150s,
I'm sure.
but they don't have the Canadian flag hanging.
How many people have 3 foot by 5 foot fucking Canadian flags flying off the back of their car? I see at least 3 a day. 3 a day. This false sense of patriotism that is rooted in a mountain of bullshit.
So
And one of the effects of that is this irrational fear and rejection of things that are actually good for all of the people of the quote unquote United States. When people want nothing further could be from the truth in a lot of cases, because it's the United States, but it's the United States of getting my own shit and fuck you if you don't have it. And it's bullshit, and I hate it. Sorry, Mikey, go ahead.
No, one thing that I wrote down was because the Red Scare is important because with healthcare becoming a thing, and like that's about the time that Canada was like, we're not so scary, kind of confident in our people. I think we'll be just fine. But that xenophobia of Russians is what kind of like springboarded this whole Johnsky distance, and now we can't get off of it. And now it's turned into a thing where, what you with the commies? You want to get healthcare? You with the commies? Like,
yeah,
no. Your grandmother is like 5 million years old. She has diabetes, an oxygen tank. She can't afford it on her Social Security. She can't afford it. She shouldn't have to pay for that. Let's all band together to pay for the oxygen tanks for the grandmas. Let's band together for anyone who needs actual health care who can't afford it. That's not me like just attacking everyone else. There he is. Looks much better, by the way.
Well, I had to go. Hopefully, I'm not too loud. I had to go to the backup plan and pull out the brand new microphone on the cell phone. So,
but you didn't. But it shouldn't be. You're part of the enemy to make people well, or to lower, because that's like, what is that? The number one reason why people file for bankruptcy.
Medicine, yeah.
It's hospital debt, and that's ridiculous. Like, we already talked about Twinkies, ho-hos, zebra cakes, Swiss rolls, Pico sticks, Laffy Tap. We talked about all the shit that
sour cherry balls.
We're just, that's part of our thing. That's part of the Americana experience. But now, being healthy and being able to see a doctor and not having to pay $1 million or even having to pay anything, that's a fucking con. Like, why should you be healthy for me? Because I'm a fucking human. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Right.
And again, I mean, it's not free. Like, we do pay taxes, but it doesn't seem to be kind of I think that the narrative that's been fostered on, amongst the American population is that, the taxation is so high that you can't possibly have any kind of quality of life. And I'm like, but yeah, you're right. Like, I don't drive a Bugatti, but I have a car, right? Like,
I still get to where I need to go.
Yeah. And I pay my taxes because I don't want my neighbor who has less of an income than me to become sick and unable to care for themselves, because that's a community problem.
In America, it's like, fuck you.
Big Haas, how many, Google for me real quick, how many aircraft carriers do we have?
You have infinitely more than Canada because we have none.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, let's sell them all. Let's just sell them to a bunch of weirdo rich billionaires.
Oh my God, what are you talking about? We need a strong defense. Our defense spending outmatches the next 10 countries combined, but it need to be stronger because we America with big dick to bound on table. Because we America. Fuck out of here.
But that's
why
the
don't
thing,
we need that?
Like, if we look at our fucking military budget,
yes,
what is it? 10% of it would provide healthcare for everyone. Everyone, like even the millionaires, even the poor people, like everyone.
I don't want to hear that shit.
And it's just the weirdest thing. And my last point on this, and then I'll let Dutch jump in here. Sharthan, who is my co-host and dear buddy on the bin in Sweden, how much time of maternity leave did your wife get?
She got fucked. It wasn't me doing it.
Play along with the bit, please. Don't.
I'm just saying they screwed her out of. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk. Okay, so she got 5 weeks, quote unquote.
5 weeks, right? Guess what they get in Sweden?
52.
Oh, you island. So the couple gets 300 days.
So almost 52 weeks.
So what he did was he took 100 and he
Yeah.
gave the other 200 to
his wife.
So that means he got 100 days with his.
Mm-hmm.
That's
To
why.
bond.
That's why they're not fucking crazy bastards over there. Is because they get to actually spend time with their children, and they were paid at, I think it was either 100 or 80% of their normal wages, and that was supplemented by the government. Yeah, their taxes are higher, but you can fucking have a kid and get to fucking see. And if the kid gets sick, the kid can go to the doctor, and you don't have to sell the house or sell like the other kid to fucking make sure that it's
God
well.
forbid the kid's born with a hole in his heart or gets jaundice or something like that.
But that's the way that we deal with things in America. We let them go all the way to shit, and then we say, "Cool, let's start a fundraiser.
Let's do a GoFundMe." Yeah.
I have no idea why I keep continually getting asked to donate money to the Veterans Fund when we have the largest military fucking budget on the planet. Why am I paying anything? You have all of the funds on Earth. You have the most funds on Earth. Secure the health and well-being of every single veteran. But you got fucking amputees standing out in front of shops asking for fucking pocket change.
And that's because they spent 1.7 trillion on a fucking airplane that doesn't fucking work.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't understand how people like America is the greatest country. I love this country. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, but it's not. Anyway.
I mean, like, I have a couple of veteran buddies, and their trials and tribulations is some of the most offensive, egregious, and is what spawned me into leftward spiral. Is because they do not take care of these people. And they're boys. They're my friends.
Nope, it's just like being pro-life for some of these people. They're pro-birth, but not necessarily pro-life.
Yeah, they're pro sending kids to the desert, but they're not pro taking care of PTSD-ridden, injury-ridden.
Yep.
And that drives me insane because I hate to see it happen to like some of my best friends. All right, Dutch is back. Back to you.
Guess who's back?
Your Borophyll.
Back again.
Dutch is back.
Guess who's back? Back again, back again, back again, back again. Okay, so
we can do the humidor, dude.
So, I'm sorry. Am I inconveniencing you?
Yes, you're breaking my concentration.
All right. So, as I said before, the ACA charged members an extra $25 each in order to raise $1.5 million for lobbying efforts at the time. So, as I was starting to read one of their propaganda pamphlets, which said, "Would socialized medicine lead to socialization of other phases of our lives?" Question. Lenin thought so. He declared socialist medicine is the keystone to the arc of the socialist state. The AMA and its supporters were, of course, successful in linking universal health care to communists. By 1960, and you see we're moving along quite quickly here, the government started tracking national health expenditures and calculated them as a percentage of GDP. Now, after Kennedy's election, he pushed a plan for senior citizens, but it failed. It was not until his assassination that LBJ was finally able to win that legislation, signing the Social Security Act of 1965, which led to Medicare and Medicaid. In 1971,
the what Security Act?
The Social Security Act of 1965.
Socialism Security Act.
Yes, you're exactly correct. But Kennedy was a fan of it, and he was assassinated and much loved, so now it was fine. In 1971, Ted Kennedy proposed a single-payer plan funded through taxes. President Nixon, however, opposed big government and proposed his own plan, which was markedly liberal for a guy who was supposed to be a conservative president. Though it did require...
The president was opposed to big government?
The president was opposed to big government, right. The guy in charge of the big government, which has gotten exponentially bigger...
but he hated it. He hated it.
As opposed to big government, right. Nixon's plan required employers to offer health insurance to employees and provided subsidies to poorer families. Nixon believed that basing a health insurance system in the open marketplace was best. In theory, this would have allowed the majority of Americans to have some form of health insurance. People of working age would have insurance through their employers, and then they'd be on Medicare when they retired. This satisfied the AMA because doctors' fees would not be influenced by the government. Ted Kennedy and Nixon, ended up working together on a plan, but Ted Kennedy, under pressure from unions, walked away from it, a decision he later said was, quote, one of the biggest mistakes of my life. Shortly after negotiations broke down, Watergate hit, and Nixon's healthcare plan went bye-bye. The Reagan years brought us COBRA, and the Clinton years ushered in HIPAA and CHIP after his Health Security Act of 1993 failed. All of this ran concurrent to the birth of HMOs, which were spawned out of employers trying to find ways to cut back on healthcare costs. Bush 43 expanded Medicare to voluntarily include prescriptions, but that's it. This brings us to the 2010s, still with no universal plan in place, and enter the Obama administration, who again worked with Ted Kennedy on the ACA. Prior to the passing of the ACA, 1 in 7 Americans was denied health insurance because of a pre-existing condition. Thus, this was the main focus of the bill. Despite its complexity, a soft rollout, and numerous issues, Obamacare was one of the most significant overhauls and expansions of healthcare coverage since the passage of Medicare and Medicaid in '65 that we just talked about a second ago. Which brings us to the end of this discussion. The revival of single payer in the national conversation, thanks to Bernie Sanders, who defined healthcare as, quote, a human right. Bernie, of course, during his 2016 run and beyond, however, predictably was called a communist by both sides of the political aisle for his efforts. Stop me if this sounds familiar. The end.
Oh boy.
Scene.
You all seem to have some sort of pathological fear of socialism and communism.
Not us all.
It's xenophobia. We don't want to be communist Russians, even if that means taking healthcare, which is something that should be a pretty basic thing, and applying it to everyone. Like that seems pretty, like it's just cheaper. It's just cheaper in every sense of the word to have.
Well, I mean, the data is really, really kind of hard to calculate because of the way that all the different countries pay for it, and so to try to line it up so you can make fair analysis from country to country, model to model, is really complicated. But just as a basic, I mean, we, as sociologists, we know that the determinants of health include access to healthcare. So the moment you pull healthcare away from your population, you're weakening the kind of 7 things that are fundamental to a healthy community and a healthy individuals and a healthy society. And like the lack of understanding of why being able to walk into any hospital when you have a cough and having it treated so you're not spreading, like, I was going to say pneumonia, but we say COVID right now. Like I don't like, to me, I don't understand how the average person can't seem to grasp that that's not communist. It's not going to make you, the Red Menace. It's not going to result in, millions of people going to the gulag. I mean, it's not what it does.
It's a slippery slope. We do one thing, and the next thing you know, we're wearing big old hats and stepping down Main Street.
And we're looking to buy, land in Northwest Territories to set up, prison camps to send all our social dissidents.
Right.
But it doesn't work that way. Like, it's not like, yeah. I mean, and as a Canadian, we just take for granted the fact that this was solved in at the same time. Like when you talked about the 60s, that's when Canada made that turn to the left. And I mean, and interesting, I would hope most Canadians, younger generations than me, know the story, but I grew up understanding the story that in the 1960s, the social democratic parties in the center part of Canada that was representing the cooperatives of the farmers decided that they had to have health care. And it grew from there because it was a cooperative, and then it was a province, and then the province worked with the federal government, and it was across all parties. The Liberals, the Conservatives, the Social Democrats, they all agreed that Canada needed to have a single universal, single payer, healthcare program. And it was accepted. Like that's just the way it was. And so we all grew up thinking, well, but that's the way it should be. And interestingly enough, the gentleman that kind of advanced it from being in Saskatchewan all the way through to becoming a national program was Tommy Douglas, who was the premier of Saskatchewan. And he's actually Kiefer Sutherland's grandfather.
Oh,
no
shit.
shit.
No shit. Yeah. So we talk about, you know,
Wow.
one step away from famous people. Canada's healthcare system as it stands today. I mean, he was not the only person, but he is kind of largely credited as the guy that had this, the forethought to kind of push this, is Kiefer Sutherland's granddad.
And he was president of the United States after all of Congress was blown up in
You're right. You could have had it.
designated survivor. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
So was
Yeah,
that Donald Sutherland's dad?
No, it was Shirley Douglas's. Tommy Douglas is Shirley Douglas's father, and so it's his grandfather on his mom's side.
Mom's side.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, it would be interesting to ask Kiefer Sutherland, given the fact that his grandfather pretty much is one of the men credited with giving Canada universal health care, what his thoughts are on the matter.
Let's call him.
Yeah.
Beep, bop, 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 beep, bop, beep.
Yeah.
Hello. It's really late.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah. If only he really was the sole survivor, you could have had it by now.
Well, speaking of soul, it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the show. I'll take y'all to the human.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Hoss. Find out what Hoss is puffin' and drinkin' today. If you try his suggestion, and you die. That is natural selection. And the VFU podcast is not responsible for you being weak effing sauce. Hoss.
I'm not on drugs.
Oh shit, I'm over here dancing.
Sure.
Get your main screen here. Get back in it. Maybe fluff that pillow before you go ahead. Soldiers. Side. Humidor.
I believe you've met my fitness consigliere.
I move that we don't do the fitness consigliere voiceover right there, because this is nothing to do with fitness. Well, you know something?
I drink and I know things.
There we go.
I like that one too. But also, this is because, you know, I'm not only in personal training and athletic performance coaching, I'm big on saying that it's more important for me to access your mind and your spirit and make that over as we make over your physical being as well. And for me, the cigar is a key component to my mental fitness because it helps keep me grounded and relaxed and
mouth cancer.
my zen. Well, you know, got to have balance. Anyway, today, you know what? I'm gonna tell a little story about this cigar.
I'm at
So
the edge of
today-
my seat.
All right, good. Look close. Listen up. So, as most of you know, I moonlight in my day life. I'm all about training people and helping them become better athletes, better people as far as their fitness is concerned and general well-being. But I also work at a cigar lounge, the Torch Cigar and Hookah in Lockport. If you haven't heard of it, get familiar, especially if you live in the area, come by. But we have a regular who comes by who's just as much of a lover of cigars as I am. And last Sunday he was by and he left and came back and gave me this cigar. And it's interesting because this cigar, the name of it is has been attributed to political ideology on the extreme that I don't agree with. And
Right, the right.
This cigar is, you know, and so when he first gave it to me, I was like, huh. And he was like, don't let the name fool you. I'm not possessing of that mindset, but the cigar was given to me and I'm giving it to you. So I am smoking today the Don't Tread on Me cigar.
Here we go. I was
Yes.
gonna flip the switch. Damn, we lost another one, y'all.
I told you pre-show that you're gonna be tripping on this title.
This is about to go full on Kanye on us.
You know, your sound for a Simpsons character, you sound very much like Mikey.
Many apologies.
So I'm smoking.
Haas is gonna wake up tomorrow with American flag underwear and
yeah. I'm going out to get my 3x5 American flag. I'm taking it out. I have a big ass fucking American flag that's in my garage gym. And it's next to my Eastern Illinois flag, which is next to my Black Lives Matter flag. So
well, tomorrow you're gonna trade in your license for a copy of the Constitution.
I'm trading in my car for a
sovereign citizen Hussein
F-150, and I'm gonna put the goddamn Gadsden flag on top on the car. But this cigar is actually it's a pretty good cigar, despite its name, and it is from the Takasa Cigar Factory in Esteli, Dutch,
Nicaragua.
Yes. And it has a fermented Maduro wrapper and aged Dutch.
Aged in Nicaragua?
Nicaraguan long fillers. Okay.
Aged in 8 Nicaraguan prostitutes.
So
why?
It doesn't taste anything like a prostitute. But I don't know what a prostitute tastes like.
And you would know.
What you doing, man? That's a trap, bro.
But it gives
trap,
you,
bruh. Sorry.
It gives you some chocolatey nuance.
Ay, caramba.
And some like a bitter sweetness. I don't know what to call it.
Does it taste like revenge?
No. It tastes very patriotic. No, I'm just playing.
Tastes like freedom.
It's got a little spice on it and a little earth. They call it medium to full, but it kind of leans a little bit more full. I am smoking the what do they call it? They call it the Gordo. And it was 6 by 60. So that's a 6-inch length, pause. And 60-inch ring gauge. 60 millimeter ring gauge.
That boy
got
they should call it just the fat. It's an American cigar. Why are they using Hispanic terms?
And if you look, you see the little veins there. You see the veins.
Those are American veins.
So it's a veiny cigar, but it's kind of smooth. But as you see, you can see the sheen on it. So it's got a little oil to it.
Calm down, ladies.
Looks like
House on the hill.
Looks like it's got some shea butter on it or something like that. A little bit of
Crack-a-lackin'.
Got some JoJo on there.
The ash holds pretty well. I think I can actually do this. Look at that. That's some ash. It holds pretty well.
That's some amazing ash.
Yeah, it's about an inch and a half. Pause.
A big ash.
And then I got another one, and it looks like that's about the length.
It was a round ash too.
Look
at that. Another round ash.
So it's about an inch and a half before it'll fall off on its own. And you can see it. So that's 3 inches of ash there, and I got about 3 inches of cigar left. Pause. It's really good. The sweetness of the chocolate and the other sweet flavor that I can't quite place, comes out a lot when I take a sip of my Kraken and Coke.
Is that the Sidney Powell drink? She's going to unleash the Kraken?
Dude, where's the button, Dutch? What the fuck, dude? Unleash the Kraken?
Which one was I supposed to play? Oh, here you go.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
There we go.
I've got something for you.
Yeah, this goddamn Kraken. And I don't, if you're not familiar with Kraken spiced rum, you need to get familiar.
I disagree. I disagree. I'm not a big fan.
You don't like, man, Kraken and Coke. I'll tell you this. My
No,
father.
I'm with Mikey.
My
Captain.
listen. My father-in-law is somewhat of a liquor snob. Okay, he came over to this house, and he saw this bottle of Kraken. Well, not this bottle, because that bottle has long been deceased that he saw. But he saw the bottle of Kraken. He said, "What's this, Hassan?" That's how he talks. "What's this, Hassan? What's this Kraken?" I said, "You know what, Pop? I'm gonna make you a Kraken and Coke." And I made him a Kraken and Coke. Well, first
now he's a crackhead.
First I gave him a little shot of it. He's like, "Oh, this is good, Hassan. This is very good. This is very good. How much did you pay for that?" And I told him $15. He said, "You got that for 15." So fast forward about a month or so, we go to his house out in the northwest suburbs. And he's like, "Hey."
I see the little chin hairs. I see you out there trying to.
Oh yeah.
Trying to come out there.
I'm letting the snow grow.
He's gonna get a Kaepernick on the bottom of his chin.
You know what's gonna happen is that I'm gonna let it grow until my wife tells me to shave it off. And she will, because it scratches her thighs. So
oh my god.
Well, wait, why would it scratch her thighs?
Oh my, go on.
It's too itchy. It's scratchy. But anyway.
The itchy and scratchy show.
The Kraken and Coke brings out the sweetness a little bit more. It actually it's not a okay. Who's familiar with like Alaga syrup? Anybody familiar with Alaga syrup? Let me know.
You just made that word up.
No, I'm not. You could look it up. Alaga syrup, ALA.
That's a QAnon theory. We're not into
Alaga
that here.
syrup is a syrup that we used back in the day. My grandma, my nana used to use it all the time. I wasn't a big fan of it, but that is what it tastes like. It tastes like Alaga syrup. It's almost like a molasses. So Alaga syrup is almost like a molasses.
I'm looking at the bottle, and it instantly triggered a memory for me. I have never bought this, but I know exactly what. I know what it is.
You are fake news.
Yeah. So it tastes like it brings that out. It brings that the spice rum brings that out.
It's cane flavored syrup. Cane flavored.
Yes.
Sugar cane.
Yes. And the great part about this was like when he gave me the cigar, I didn't look it up or anything. I just thought it was like, oh, this is some premium boutique cigar. But no, this is actually a bargain cigar. And it smokes like a premium. As you can see, the burn line is really good. The ash is nice and firm. Pause. Cigar is very well constructed. But you could cop 20. The Gordo that I am smoking, you can get 20 of them for $55 to $60.
Ay caramba!
So I'm serious. This is a quite surprising cigar, because when I'm smoking, I'm like, oh, this is nice. I could smoke this.
You can fund white supremacists all across the.
And here's the thing: is that they just
You ever been mind fucked before?
They just throw a band on these cigars. This is probably Tacasa's, one of their house blends, and they put it on there. They put that band on it to appeal to the patriotic Americans and sell a few more of their house blends. But I'm not mad at that. I could definitely. This is another one that I can add.
Pause.
Yeah.
Patriotic American,
quote unquote,
is on your shirt.
That's right. And
so
hey, guess what?
Fuck these people who self-designate themselves as patriots.
Well, my plan this summer is, and this is why I'm doing 2 Pelotons a day and working out lifting about 4 or 5 times a week, is because I want to cut the grass shirtless this summer with a big fat cigar hanging out my mouth.
Pause.
So, this summer I might be rocking the "Don't Tread on Me" while I'm, walking around my front lawn with my electronic.
All the MAGA guys will honk at you as they go by. What's up, America? We love black guys who love Trump.
Yeah. And I'll be like, fuck Trump. And they'll be like, oh, shit.
Dodge Twins rule.
Yeah, fucking Dodge Twins.
They're gonna egg you, cut the grass.
Hey, they've already egged my house when I had the Black Lives Matter flag out front. So they know that I'm not a Trumper.
Somebody
So-
just moved in. They don't know yet.
Great freaking cigar. Very great, very attractive price point. This is definitely one of those ones you can grab and stock your humidor with and not be breaking the bank. So this is a very if your wife or significant other is on you about how much you spend on cigars, you can spend $55 to $60, get a pretty decent sized cigar, has really good smoke output. So you can sit by the pool, you can sit on the deck, you can cut the grass, smoke these mugs. I'm gonna give this one a 4.38. It's
caramba!
That is so specific.
It's flavorful. It's flavorful, but it's not as flavorful as I would like. That like blows my socks off. I'm like, oh, it's pretty. It's just a pretty freaking good cigar, but it's not like, oh man, like I'm not rushing to order 20.
I didn't think you were Russian.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Too many
I'm
dads
not.
in the room.
I'm not Russian.
You're not a Russian, sir. Do not tell me that you are a Russian because you're clearly not.
I'm a black Russian.
You're not. You're clearly not Vladimir. There's no question here. Okay.
My middle name is Dariuskis.
No, his name is.
Oh wait, you're
Darius.
Dariuski's black brother.
That's right.
Oh yes,
I
I know this now. This is true.
I drink Stoli vodka all the time.
Oh, Stoli is the terrible vodka. You know, that's what are you talking about?
You were sliding out of Russian so fast with that accent. And also, any black Russians, any black people that live in Russia, their name is Vladimir.
Yeah. Do you know why there are black people in Russia?
The Moors.
No, that might be also true, but a lot of a Russian pal of mine told me a while ago. He was like, "No, we've got quite a few African American or blacks who live in Russia. Russian black. What the fuck would you call
African Russians?
African Russian Americans.
Call them Afro Russians.
Yeah, and a lot of them came there in I think it was 1980 Olympics, and decided to stay because of things like healthcare.
Socialist healthcare.
You know?
Yeah, they came from, the Olympic teams in Africa and Jamaica and even some Americans, and just said, you know what, this is cool. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah, and I dated a couple of chicks from the Ukraine and other places around there, and I can see why.
So as of
plus the Russians paid their athletes, by the way.
They're called Afro Russians. There's 50,000 of them in a population of 117 million. So not a bunch.
There's some, which is fine.
That's like one city spread across the like third largest country on Earth.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that there's a lot.
This is in closing, really good cigar, great price point, especially for the budget conscious like myself with 4 kids. Something you can smoke. It could be a daily smoker, so you're not smoking up all your really high-end premium stuff. Like this saves me from smoking my Padrones. This saves me from smoking my oblongatas and stuff like that. So, and my CAOs and things like that. So,
Yo, medulla oblongata.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them oblongatas. They're fucking phenomenal. But
Mama said,
alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. One of my
You're gonna love my nuts.
Dude, my man, when he put his hand up like this, I was like, oh my God. Fucking Adam Sandler's the best, man.
Oh, he was.
Captain Insano shows no mercy. I gouged
him. 62.
All right, so there's another effectively long humidor.
Yeah, humidors like me, long.
He cries about the history lesson being long, and then he goes even longer.
Pause.
You like how you can see the bricks through my Call of Duty page?
It's just my
Isn't that-
nature.
See, I can go up and down, and you can see it shifts. It's very fun. So Quiet Gorilla.
Titties jump.
We're talking to the guys. Quiet Gorilla. Okay.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on whatever. Give us your parting thoughts here. I think what the question that I'd like to ask you is like, actually, when people always say this, I'd like you to talk about this.
Oh my God, pick one question.
There's a lot of people who will say that Canadians, when they want good health care, they'll cross the border and come to the United States to get good health care here. Is that a myth? Is that true? Is that true in maybe a couple circumstances? Or what is the basis for that story that we hear all the time?
It's not entirely untrue. It has to do, I think, largely with the we'll say the accessibility. Not that it's inaccessible in Canada, but the underlying precepts of access to healthcare in Canada is you get what you need when you need it. And so I'll give you an example. My father started developing cataracts, and he went to his eye doctor, and which of course was free. And the eye doctor said, "You're getting cataracts. We're going to have to replace your natural lenses with artificial lenses," which is covered by the universal health care, but you'll have to go on a waiting list because people who need their eyesight for what they do or because they're older or they've been waiting longer will go before you. So you can wait your time and get your cataracts repaired. Or because Canada doesn't have an exclusively public system, there are some private access. You can jump the queue if you pay for the surgery yourself. So you can wait your turn to get it on the government's dime, or you can use your own money if you have money and get the same surgery, but you just pay for it yourself. The other thing was the quality of the lens, because when they put in the artificial lens, there's like the basic lens that corrects your eyesight and you can see again. And then there's lenses that, don't limit your eyesight so you don't have to wear glasses, or is this like getting, lenses for your glasses?
You get superpowers.
Yeah, so you can wait your turn and get your eyesight fixed, and the government will pay for everything. Or you can use your own money to jump the queue, and you can also pay for the better lens, or any combination thereof. So my father, being truly a socialist, decided, listen, I've got the money, I can afford to jump the queue, but I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair that because I have the money, I should jump the queue. I will wait my turn, but I will use my money to get the better lenses. So he waited his turn to get his eye surgery done, but he used the resources that he had acquired over his lifetime of working very hard. He started off in sales and worked his way up to president of the company, but he felt obligated not to use his wealth that he had acquired to jump ahead of people who had been waiting longer. Wow. But when his turn came, he did decide that he wanted to have the better lenses because he didn't want to compromise his eyesight. So there are cases where people say, well, I can have the surgery in Canada when I get around to it, or if I have the money, I can go to the US and get it sooner. Or I can get the cheapest version of that surgery in Canada, or I can go to the US and get the high tech. Like, for example, when they started doing appendectomies, or LASIK, but appendectomies, required abdominal surgery. They'd have to open your abdomen. You'd be in the hospital recovering. And then they started doing laparoscopic, where they just make a couple little holes in your abdomen and they go in with instruments and they remove your appendix and they pull it out through the hole. And the recovery time is, much faster, and the likelihood of infection is much smaller. But Canada didn't have the capacity to have laparoscopically trained surgeons across the entire country. So unless you lived in a big city like Toronto or Montreal or something, you still had to have the conventional appendectomy. But if you went to the US and you paid for it, you'd be in and out in a day. So Canadians with money who don't want to wait, and Canadians who want the very best of the newest techniques with the newest machines and probably the best trained surgeons because they're making more money. Physicians in the US just make more bank, right? Like, a Canadian surgeon is going to do okay by Canadian standards, but if they go to the US, they're going to do more than okay. And so, we've got good surgeons, we've got good hospitals, but not every hospital has an MRI. That's Just like the hospital here is a small regional hospital. We have one ultrasound machine. And so if that machine is running 20 hours a day and we got people backed up and you need to get an ultrasound because you could die, they will bump you ahead. But if it's just an ultrasound because you twisted your knee and it's still causing you problems, you could wait 3, 4, 5 weeks or months. Or they'll send you to the next biggest city that's got lots of ultrasound machines. So you're going to have to drive an hour. You can get seen next month instead of 6 months from now. So
I have a follow-up question for
Yeah.
the last thing. When it comes to like MRI machine or like someone needs a CAT scan or something like that, and if the equipment is not available at the site closest to you, are there efforts in Canada now to increase bolster the equipment at all sites? Or is there a growing movement to get more machines out to more places so that it provides a better service?
So in Canada, healthcare, although it's universal and federally paid for, is actually a provincial mandate. So each province has to decide how they're going to roll out the universal healthcare, and they have to meet the minimum standards that are set by the federal government. They can exceed those standards. So you could actually, from province to province, get even better than the basic, depending on that province. So some provinces provide for greater range. Some provinces provide different drug coverage. Some provinces provide eyewear for children under the age of 16 or 18, and other provinces don't, because that's just not where their government decided to put the money. And the Canadian government makes sure that they have the financial means to be able to meet the minimum standards. And so Canada actually has a federal transfer payment program where the provinces that generate more revenue actually pay into the government, the federal government, and then the federal government reallocates resources. You know, how many times have you heard Bernie say that, right? Reallocating resources to the provinces.
The wealth.
Yeah.
Have to spread
So
the wealth.
the wealthiest provinces in Canada contribute to the federal government, who then helps make sure that the least wealthy provinces in Canada have enough money to provide for health and education. Yeah.
How foreign? How alien?
So yeah, and they define health and education very broadly. So, for example, Quebec, which is actually a wealthier province because they have hydroelectric power, they actually are probably the most socialist because of their French ties. I mean, they were founded by the French. They still have a very close connection to France, and they Quebecois, and so they are like so socialist that they have like publicly funded daycares. And like when I went to college in Quebec, because I grew up in Quebec, my college tuition was $142 a term for 7 courses.
Charged you all that money?
I know. Can you imagine?
Those monsters.
And I was telling somebody this just recently, and I said, yeah, when I went to college, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago now, actually, 40 years ago, I was paying $142 a term for my tuition. Now I had to pay my books and I had to pay the same price as everything else, but my actual course tuition was like crazy low. Like I could afford it on my part-time job to pay my tuition. Like it wasn't a big deal. I was paying less for my tuition than I was for like my car insurance. And someone said, really? Well, that was 40 years ago. How much it is now? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll look it up. So I went to my college website, and tuition is now $162 a term.
Oh,
it's
no.
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 Oh, my God. All of those tax stuff just...
Yeah.
And I spent... And here I spent $58,000 on Colorado State.
Yeah. So
Canada, the children.
Yeah, Canada and the Canadian provinces have made it a firm commitment to ensure. Now they're different, right? I mean, other provinces, your tuition is going to be higher. We do have private universities, but we also have publicly funded universities. But different publicly funded universities get different amounts of funding from the provincial government, and so it's a constant back and forth negotiation between the politicians, between the provinces, between the federal government, between all those agencies. So when, if say, for example, this province in British Columbia, they say, well, we've got, 150 small general hospitals in towns of less than 50,000, and none of them have an MRI. We'd like to get them an MRI. How much is an MRI? Oh, it's $500,000. So then we now need, $75 million to get each of those hospitals. Well, we could use that $75 million for this, or we could put it where there's 3 million people that need 10 more MRIs. So it's a constant balance trying to figure out where to put the limited resources and investment. And over time, it slowly creeps out into the rural parts. But for the most part, if you need it, you can get it. It may require you having to go somewhere. And in some cases, the government will cover that too. Like we will fly people to where they need to get the treatment that they need to get in order to make sure that they survive.
So just before any conservatives start listening to this and thinking, that would never happen in the United States as far as like having to move places. Again, I live in Bakersfield, right? So we have Kaiser Permanente here.
Yeah.
And almost everybody has Kaiser Permanente in California, which is sort of a problem because they're not the greatest. But in fact, there's a lot of problems with Kaiser.
Dutch.
But yeah.
What's Kaiser Permanente?
It is I believe the nation's largest.
I was going to say, I think they're the largest
medical organization. They're interesting because they are the insurance company and the hospital. So I pay my HMO. It's very close to what you would expect from social medicine, but it's not, obviously, because it costs a lot to have it. But the idea is similar. My healthcare plan, for example, is $98 a month for one individual, and that's with the HMO. So and my prescriptions are $12, but there are times though when my son, for example, my elder son who's 6 now, he has unilateral hearing loss. So that means he can't hear out of his right ear. He has like very little limit, like a yell sounds like a whisper to him. So when he had to go do the hearing tests, they only had the basic equipment in Bakersfield. Now, Bakersfield is population around 600,000 people. All of the sophisticated equipment and the better trained doctors are in, of course, San Francisco or Los Angeles. So we had to go for his second stages of hearing tests, because they do the first one there with like the headphones where they go beep beep here, beep beep there, and see if he turns his head, because that's how they do it when you're an infant. But to do the one where they hook up the neurological stuff to you and are measuring your brain waves, they didn't have that in Bakersfield. So anybody in Bakersfield that wants to have that, they have to drive on their own dime to LA, wait down there for ever as we wait for the appointment, 2, 3, 4 hours waiting, and then pay for parking while you're there, which is $20, $30 an hour, and then drive back the 2-hour drive to Bakersfield. Now, I'll do that for my kid. However, I would strongly prefer to just have them have the resources in Bakersfield, but I also understand it's Bakersfield. So, it's that this is a common issue, and that's not just with Kaiser. The same thing happens with, if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield or something of that nature, just because Bakersfield in general doesn't have the same resources as Los Angeles. And you hear about that a lot of times. Like if someone gets into a severe car wreck in DeKalb, they're going to airlift them to like Rush Copley or University of Chicago.
They're going to take the extra 30 minutes and fly them middle of the city.
Right, where they have the resources.
And for all of those listeners who aren't from Illinois, Haas, myself, and Dutch are all Illinois natives. Well, I'm not a native.
You're a sellout St. Louis Cardinals piece of shit.
I'm a transplant. I guess I could say I'm an Illinois transplant. But DeKalb is the northern section of the state, and then Chicago is where Chicago is. If you guys know what Illinois looks like,
it's way west of Chicago, like 50 miles from Chicago.
Yeah, it's more than 50 miles.
It's like 130. Like
yeah.
It's out there. It's out there.
I don't know about all that now.
It's 30 minutes.
How much, hey, how much you want to
from Aurora?
I bet you a bottle of 19 crimes that I got sitting.
It's at least 100 miles. It's 30 miles from Aurora. 30 minutes from Aurora.
Hey, Dutch, you want to stop fucking up my free wine real quick?
I'll take that bet.
All right. So what's the bet? Is it closer to
Chicago? It is not over 100 miles.
I'll take that. 1 bottle of wine, everybody, and then we'll research it after showing.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
All right, there it is. 1 bottle of wine. I think I got him. I think he's fucked. I think it's like 103. I think I fucking got him. I think I fucking got him.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now.
Listening to that story about your son, Dutch. It made me...
he's got you. It's 76.3 miles. But
you know why? Because I've driven from DeKalb to the city to go party and got there in 40 minutes.
No.
You were both wrong though, because one said 100 and one said 50.
It was right in the middle.
I said it was less than 100.
Yeah, well, it's closer to 100.
You're trying to cape for your boy now.
Look. Do an address from the south side. Do an address from the south side, and then find me an address from the far northwest corner of fucking DeKalb. I might have them.
Leaving from Lake Michigan.
Right. He goes from Mackinac Island to fucking DeKalb, right?
From Miggsfield to the western part.
Yeah, if I go from Comiskey to Wrigley and then back down to Comiskey and then to DeKalb and stop at Starbucks twice, it'll be 100 miles.
Did I really lose that? I'm looking.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Fuck y'all. Y'all want me to lose. I'm everybody.
That's true too.
DeKalb, Illinois to Chicago, Illinois is less than 100 miles, dude.
That's
hey, guess what?
I thought you were closer to right because it is.
I need another bottle of the Warden. By the way.
No, we out of the Warden. I got a rosé for you. I got a rosé.
Okay. I don't have a rosé. I've got a Pinot.
It just came out. It just came out. I got you.
Yeah, holla at your boy. You're only 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
He stole it. He stole it from Dominic's.
Yeah,
Dominic.
Or that no longer exists.
Doesn't exist anymore.
That's where I stole it from. No, I got a pretty sweet deal on wine, so I bought 6 bottles. I was like, I can gamble. Maybe I'll get a bottle. No, I lost. I lost. This is why I don't gamble, everyone. I'm not a
and me as a person who fucking used to go to the club all the time and go to the west side on my motorcycle too. So I always knew the miles because my Ninja, it doesn't have a fuel thing. So I know. So I knew that on a full tank I have 125 miles. So I would go from my house in DeKalb to the west side of Chicago, and I'd have like it would take me like I thought it was like 50 or 60, but I guess it's 70 miles. But so I'd have like 55 miles left before I had to get gas. So I knew before I came back home I would have to stop and get gas.
Well, there you go. That's why betting is evil.
Don't do it, y'all. You just lose. Like
right. You gotta know if the starting quarterback got his girlfriend pregnant and he's freaking out before the game.
I thought you were closer to right because
you know what? If it was Rockford, I would have definitely had him.
Yeah, Rockford is definitely.
Rockford, I would have agreed with you right off the bat because Rockford is a fuck ton away, dude.
It's not that far away from DeKalb.
It's like a long time to get to.
No, it is. It's at least 30 minutes from DeKalb.
It's like 35 minutes to get from. I used to train at a gym in Rockford.
And there's
crazy.
Little piece of advice here. If anybody ever in Chicago wants to fly to Vegas,
go for Rockford.
Allegiant Airlines, it's a shitty ass plane, dude. It's like Spirit Airlines, but it's like $40.
Yeah.
I'm good.
From Rockford.
$7 an envelope and some Chico sticks.
$40 for a ticket and $18 for a Coke.
All you need to get on that plane is 3 Swiss rolls.
Right. Hey, it's about 7 of y'all. It's about 7 of y'all outside pushing, and you got to run and jump in.
Yeah. But it helped if I got out and pushed, Princess Leia.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, did I show you guys my? All right, we're closing up the show, but I have to brag on my baby. It's we missed
Which
international.
Baby?
Mrs. Feast. We're calling her Mrs. Feast from now on, so it'll be Feast and Famine.
Don't call her that. So I got this from my baby.
Did she make it?
No, she ordered it online.
It's her with a white man?
She didn't get your dreads right, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Millennium Falcon. I couldn't see it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I
see.
see.
It says, I love you, and
I know.
That is very cool.
That is nice. I thought it was her with a white guy.
No,
Right.
I've always been Han Solo to her, and she's always called me a scruffy looking nerf herder, and I've always called her her
Who you
highness.
calling scruffy looking?
And I've always called her her highnessness.
That's from Spaceballs, though.
Her highnessness.
I think, yeah, isn't it?
Gosh, careful where you
You
tread.
can you can get your wine bottle back right now. Bet him.
What, that's in there? No, I know it's not, but it's close to that. He goes, what's he say to her? He's like, your heiressness or something like that. Yeah, he talks shit to her. Bill Pullman.
And now we're all going to have to go watch it to figure out.
Spaceballs? I'll watch Spaceballs anytime.
No, I've never seen that movie all the way through.
Me neither.
Spaceballs.
Can't be bothered.
Oh.
Can't be bothered. I don't do
I'm inclined to go watch Black Panther again now after we had that conversation.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot of pop culture today.
I love that movie. But thank you, baby. She gave me this a little while ago. Also,
A punch in the nose.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with this little show called The Office. I have a fucking Dundie. I have a Dundie award, and it says hottest in the office, Mikey Famine.
Oh.
Well, someone lied to you.
Somebody left breath.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Hottest breath in the office.
Y'all can hate all you want, but I don't see you having a Dundee. So losers
That's
can talk.
true.
Can't hear you from the top of the leaderboard way up here.
Hey, guess what?
Oh, did you see those? Speaking of that,
I'm the hottest in my house. Well, no, I'm the hottest male in my house.
No, yeah, okay. Did you see the Chadwick Boseman the Golden Globe speech that his wife gave?
I can't watch.
Was it good?
That was tough to watch.
I'm just gonna cry. I'm just gonna
I'm
cry.
gonna have to look it up and cry myself to
You
sleep.
want to cry with me, Big Haas? Want to watch it after this?
I do. When I'll cry with my wife.
Hold me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was so composed in keeping the history of his illness away from people for so long.
You know something too, QG? His circle of friends and family that knew about this, those are some great fucking people, dude. Because nobody leaked shit. And you know that TMZ would have paid a boatload to get that story. You know what I mean? And nobody said shit. That's great.
That's why.
And I'm glad I got friends like that. I got friends like that. I was like, don't tell nobody about this. They would be like, okay.
I mean, it was tragic, and it was like it seemed to be so quick because like he was here one day and nobody knew, and the next day it's like it's over, and he's been fighting for years. And
for years. How many? He did like 7 movies. Yeah, he did like 7 or 8 movies while he was sick, dude.
Yeah,
that blows my mind.
And I mean, I had a scare very similar 2006, so like what 15 years ago, and they thought I had bowel cancer, and it turned out not to be bowel cancer, but I still had to have a whole bunch of surgeries, but it wasn't terminal. Like I recovered. And so when all of a sudden I hear that he had the cancer and he didn't recover.
You recovered on Canadian healthcare? What?
I know, it's amazing. Can you believe that? I went to the
hold on, inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
I saw a doctor in the morning. They sent me to a specialist the same afternoon. They put me in the hospital that night. They opened me up 2 days later, and a month later, I walked out of the hospital after, like, I think all I had to pay for was my TV. Like, that was it.
Wow.
My private room was covered.
That's only because he ordered all that porn while he was in there.
Yeah. Why were you on
Red very bored in there? Yeah. That's not his fault.
You do, but you don't want porn when you have a urinary catheter.
The mess.
Oh damn, Rudy.
You know what? Even if it wasn't a mess, they'd know.
Right. Just the pain.
Hey, this isn't yellow.
Yeah, but you know what? In Canada, your nurses are uglier, so we're still better. America.
You remember that disgusting soda from the 90s, like Orbs or some shit that had the little globe
beads.
Yeah, that would be that catheter.
Yeah, I do remember that shit.
That'd be that catheter bag. Like, look, bro, I'm gonna need you to fucking calm down, man. Like,
oh, you know what? What's the deal with fucking poutine?
What the fuck is that?
Poutine.
It's poutine.
Poutine, yeah.
It's poutine, yeah.
What is that?
So
Vladimir Putin. Wait.
The guy?
No, both of you American slobs Shut your mouth.
I've had it, but
You
I don't
I don't know
understand.
what it
American
is.
slob. You're an American
What
slob.
is it?
Shut your mouth and you like huge expose our American audience some of the greatest culinary delights that our country refuses to give us.
It's carbs too.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, it's not healthy.
Shut
but
up, Atkins.
First of all, you start with
now.
really good French fries, and by really good, I mean like soaked overnight and then cooked not in vegetable oil but beef lard. Right, it's got to be cooked in, so you get that dark brown kind of Maillard
kill you
effect.
quick and test that medical system.
So you start with those fries, and then you take cheese curds, not shredded cheese, not cube, like actual cheese curds, and you put the cheese curds on top of it, and then you get what's called in Quebec they call it de sauce. It's not a gravy. It's not quite as thick as a gravy. It's thinner than a gravy. It's got a little bit of a picante to it, right? And then they put this thin brown sauce, and it melts the cheese curds on top of those brown fries, and that's puts in, and that's how it started. But now people like put in pulled pork, or they put in like maple bacon.
God damn! Oh damn!
It's look, I had it when I was in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I was like, I liked it, right? I thought it was good, but like
deadly.
People were going to get that shit like every fucking day.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
big
and I was like,
Toronto.
They do?
Must.
Listen. Toronto had some amazingly beautiful women. I'm going to tell you that now.
We need to do a pod on location, just in Toronto for research purposes.
Yeah, just
doing a lot of
we
stories
can
on DeMar DeRozan.
we can do that, and also the view of Niagara Falls from your side is way fucking better.
It is. Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah.
Obviously.
I know. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
So
Justin Trudeau is a pansy.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, like Wendy's up here has bacon poutine.
Oh, they had it here for a while. No, they had it here too, but it sucked. I tried it and it was garbage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was garbage. Yeah. I mean, it's not like having grown up in Quebec, like no other puts in actually even. And in fact, I have the mix that you make the brown sauce off. I have friends in Quebec who still send it to me out here, so I can actually have the proper brown sauce because everyone else just uses gravy.
Yo, can you send me a link, an Amazon link to de sauce?
The sauce. Here, I just shared a picture of bacon poutine.
Share your screen, dude.
Oh,
hold on. Let me enlarge my screen real quick so I can get a look at it.
So what you got to do is you got to
look good.
Get some fries, go over to Culver's, grab you some cheese curds.
Yeah, you can. It's easy. You can do it at home as long as you have cheese curds, good French fries.
It's not vegan. It's got cheese in it.
It says vegan. Vegan poutine.
I just put in bacon poutine, but you put real bacon on it, and that's basically what it is. But it, and the sauce, it's a thinner gravy, and it's got like a little bit of a heat to it.
I wonder if we can get some beef lard from somewhere.
Yo, I'm already on it, big dog. Don't even worry about that. We finna have.
Dude, hey, guess what, Mikey? I'll make the salmon, and you bring the poutine.
Let me see that poutine.
Oh, listen to him. Listen to him ruining our good time. See,
right,
you are fake news.
Hey, because I got my second shot. I'm all good.
Oh, nice.
Yo, I'm immune too, brother.
Hey, guess what? I was on my ass yesterday.
It did you too, huh?
I wasn't as bad as you because you were down for like 3 days, right?
I was down for a good day and a half.
Yeah, it was only about 12 hours for me. I had the aches, I had the shivers,
I
had the shits, and I had a fucking headache out of this world.
Which one did you get? The Pfizer or the Moderna?
Moderna.
I got Pfizer.
Which one are you guys rolling out in Canada? Is the rollout there smooth?
So far we've got all the healthcare providers covered
and all the elites.
Yeah, all the elites. And they've now started. They've got all the long-term care facilities and old age homes done. And just this week, they've started to roll it out to the general public. And they're starting with people over 80. So it is happening. My wife works in healthcare, and she got her second shot 2 weeks ago, and it knocked her out for about 2 days too. Same thing: chills, headache, ache, joint pain.
Yeah.
It was the second dose. The first dose, she came home. She's like,
first dose was fine. My arm was a little sore, but that was it.
Little tight spot on the arm. Just spot, little tight.
Yeah, and so she's like, I said, how did it go? She said, and she gave like 300 doses that day, and she got her own dose, and she came in and said, yeah, it's bit of a normal needle thing. And then 3 weeks later, she got her second dose, and I came home from work, and she was already home under a heating blanket. And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I feel like crap.
Yeah,
and like 2 days.
I came home from my second shot, and I did a whole Peloton, and I did a strength workout, and I was like, oh, this is great because me getting my heart rate going and stuff is going to run the medicine through my system. I'll probably be okay. I sit there, man, about 10 o'clock, I was like,
man, it's cold as hell in here.
Man,
it's freezing in this house.
I canceled every client I had yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to getting it when it gets around to my age group.
But let me take this opportunity to encourage everyone. When the vaccine becomes available for you,
get it.
It sucked, but it sucked for a day and a half. And I encourage everyone to plan it. Try to get it on the weekend, maybe if you're off weekends or something like that, or if your job will allow you to take the time after you get your vaccine, do that. Because being able, like, I still wear a mask for work because I'm a frontline worker or whatever, essential or whatever. So I feel less. Yeah, mine's in my work jacket. I feel less paranoid. You know what I'm saying? Going to work now, and until everyone gets vaccinated and we have some sort of sense of security, I feel a little bit better going out in public. I still wear my mask because people don't know that I'm vaccinated and I don't have a big fucking, I don't know, star written on my jacket that lets everybody know that I'm vaccinated. So it's nice to be able to go out in public and not fear the public and know that I'm not going to get them sick. So do your due diligence, get your Fauci ouchie, parts 1 and 2. And now a good buddy of mine, Outcast X, shout out to the Utah Outcast. He got his Johnson & Johnson, and he's gonna report back to me about how that one's going.
The one shot.
That's a one-shot deal, right?
Yeah.
You only get one shot, one opportunity.
Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
So I went to, I know this is getting to be a long podcast, but fuck it.
College due page on a sweater already. Mom spaghetti.
I went to, so Melissa said to me the other day on Saturday, she was like, I'd like to go to church tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll go to church. So I've been going to my men's group every Friday. And I love going there because I love challenging these guys' ideas. But I go into the men's group and there's probably 40 dudes in there, and there's 3 or possibly 4 of us that wear a mask. So I went into, I expected already. I already expected what I expected, but so I went to church, and like the pastor, who I generally like, he's ranting on the Equal Rights Act and talking about how, all this bullshit with that. And I want to talk about that maybe next week because we don't have time to talk about it tonight. But I'm sitting in there and I'm like, they tried to do a little social distancing. I'll give them credit. But as the church got too packed, they threw it to the wayside. And they had a room for elderly people that was like mask mandatory, and like where they used to have the nursery which is closed now because of COVID. But I'm sitting in this packed fucking congregation and with about a 5% mask rate. And I wore my mask the entire time. And like Melissa wore hers for like the first 15 minutes and then she took it off. And like
she succumbed to peer pressure.
Yeah. And I'm like, I was waiting for her to say something. And I'm like, I'm not taking it off. I don't take it off during men's group. Fuck these guys. Right. The only way I'll take it off during men's group is if, like, last week we had enough people didn't show where I was sitting far enough away from the people where I took it off, and because I had at least 10 feet between me and the other people. So I'm fine there. But like, I just don't, and like the guy sitting next to me in church is like, he's got to be 85.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like, it just doesn't fucking, I don't get it. It just doesn't, It does, and people, oh, I'm not afraid of it. Fear and respect are two different fucking things.
Hey,
Not
yo,
to
Dutch,
them.
hey,
Not
yo,
to them.
Dutch, let me tell you something. Let me give you some hood knowledge real quick. There's a lot of motherfuckers that have been laid out on a fucking curb who wasn't afraid.
Right.
You ain't got to be
Like,
afraid
hey,
to get your ass whooped.
Hey, like
be as
Sugar
brave-
Ray,
You can be as brave as you want to be. You
right.
still get your ass whooped.
like Sugar Ray said at Harlem Nights. Here lies quick. He died young, but he wasn't no punk.
Yo, being afraid of something has nothing to do with your susceptibility to contracting a virus. You can't bench press yourself away from being. You can't bench press immunity to viruses. It's not a thing. You're not tough. You're a human. You have human
Patriotism
biology.
is immunity, right?
Right. Yeah. What I found strange for me is, I mean, I get it if people don't understand. I mean, I get it if people don't understand the science, they don't understand the healthcare. But to say to people who do understand this stuff, I don't believe it, or I'm immune to it, or like I don't get
Herd
it.
immunity.
Yeah, my whole career has pretty much been about kind of either running towards when shit is going down, or at least standing my ground, because when things are, burning down or blowing up or bleeding out, like I'm the person who's been there to have to hold it together, and I'm still afraid. That's why I carry a backpack with everything I can possibly need in it. Like, I'm not stupid, right? I'm like, but it's my job. I have to move in when other people are able to safely move back, but I'm not doing it stupidly, right? Like, I make sure I know my surroundings. And so when they said, hey, we now think that this thing has got some aerosolization, it is possible that you can transmit by breathing it. But more importantly, putting a mask on stops you from touching your face 50,000 times an hour, and then touching cans of soup and touching doorknobs and touching. And so even if you don't transmit it, the wearing the mask sends a signal that you are not going to be touching your face and contaminating everything else that other people that are touching. So just wear the mask. Just wear the mask and don't.
My
touch
problem
your
with the mask is I constantly, because I talk all the time at work, like in meetings, if I had the mask on, I'm always sticking my thumb under it and pulling it out just a little bit so that people can hear my voice. Right. Like I do that all the time. I don't know if that's probably a bad thing.
I'll talk with my mom's. My mom's made me my masks that I wear. She made me about 5 of them, and I have a big fucking head. If anybody ever meets me in fucking real, shut the fuck up, Dutch. Your head's just as big as mine.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
But I have a fucking big ass fucking face and a big ass fucking head.
Radio Ray.
I got an XL
Raheem
mask, so it's like I think I had it on a few days ago. So I got called Sub-Zero for it because it looks like I got like the whole over here is covered, and it comes all the way down. It's nice because if you have a big fucking chin and a big fucking head, it doesn't just like fucking smother you the entire time. So I have my space where I can still get a little bit of breathing room down on the bottom. I'm not like my air isn't just like protruding out towards the people that I have to talk to. So I'll talk to my mom's and I will see if she can whip us up some. She sews all of them herself on her little I forgot the name of the fucking machine, but she has a sewing machine, whatever that's called. I'll see if she can whip us up some for the crew.
Might be a singer.
There you go. It's a singer.
Our voice from the underground masks are actually pretty good, but we need to get some DOA masks.
My face is way too big for that shit, bro. That's half the size.
Well, we got 2 of them though. Remember, we had 2. We had the smaller one, and then we had the bigger one that had the perforations in it.
The bigger one is too small.
Oh wow!
I got a big fucking face.
Yeah.
My head is large. My head, that's the size of my head. Not inches, large.
The other thing I noticed when I was walking around here when they started last spring asking for the mask stuff was the number of people who were wearing masks were slowly increasing out in public. But the number, and did you guys put like directional arrows in all the stores so that people would be going? Yeah. What I found was
early, but not now.
So what I was curious because I started noticing what I thought was a correlation between people who weren't wearing masks and also ignoring the arrows. And so I wrote a little app for my phone. So whenever I was out, I'd keep track of how many people were wearing masks and moving with the arrows and how many people were wearing masks.
You just made an app.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a quick thing that I can tap the button. Anyway.
I woke up. I was like, I'm gonna make an app for this.
I'm gonna make an app.
He's
I got
Quebecois.
30 minutes. I got 30 minutes.
He's Quebecois. He does these things.
And what I found was most of the people that were going against the arrows also weren't wearing masks.
Fuck them rules.
Yeah, exactly. Like and then
I'm American.
Well, these are great.
But this was Canada.
Yeah, and then in December,
they immigrated from America. They from Detroit.
The government.
They walked across the bridge and got locked in.
You know, our first case in British Columbia came from Washington State, right? Like we got this from you all.
Them Bundy boys.
Yeah,
you got it from the Trump cabinet.
When the government said that no, really seriously, you all have to wear masks now, the number of people wearing masks went up quite dramatically, but there was still like it was so unusual to see someone without a mask. They stood out like a sore thumb then. But the compliance of mask wearing was really, really high, at least in the town that I'm in. And that was gotten kind of wobbly again, where people are like, oh, I'm afraid they're going against the arrows. And I find that even when I go with the arrows and I have to go down one aisle and come back the other aisle, like I feel like I'm doing it because I don't want to freak the other people out. Like, who's this guy going against the aisle? Especially the staff, the frontline people that are there.
Not like super crazy about it though, right? Like if you pass up the potato soup by 4 cans, you're not going to go around the aisle again to go. You'll reach behind you and get it, right?
If I can reach it, I will.
Yeah.
But if I'm at the end of the aisle and it's like 10 feet in, I will go around. And I even sat there wondering, why am I doing this? And I realized it's because I don't want to freak out this like 18-year-old person who's been there masked all day stocking shelves, and here I am just ignoring their.
So you're actually thinking about the well-being of other people?
Unbelievable.
You heretic.
You communist.
I think that's a beautiful place to end. Thank you, QG. The Quiet Gorilla. Can you tell people where to find you?
Yeah, www.quietgorilla.ca.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
There it is. So definitely go check out his website. There's a bunch of brilliant quotables on there, which are quite hilarious and will make no sense to you, but they're funny nonetheless.
You can actually, I put the date so you can check Neil's show and see where that was said.
That's fucking priceless. And at the end of the show, as usual, if you guys love independent media, if you like for us three cheese balls to be able to say and do whatever the fuck we want on any platform that we
cheese curds.
Oh, if you like us cheese curds to say and do whatever we want, and poutine all over the place.
Flaming hot cheese curds.
Flaming hot cheese curds
from Ted Hortons.
Flaming hot cheese curd puffs. Did we just become rich? I got him. Please consider going to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/digonamerica. Right? Please consider dropping a pledge in there. Your private fundage helps us not have to rely so heavily on the algorithms and do all the other rigmarole bullshit with social media, and we can do what we do because we feel empowered by the people who actually care about the product that we put out. So thank you guys so much for supporting
and George Soros.
His check is not cleared yet. Thank you everybody on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Where else are we at? YouTube and Daily Motion. Daily Motion.
Yeah, whatever the hell that is.
Daily Motion's still a thing?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's actually. I have no idea who's actually watching that.
So if you're on Daily Motion,
what's that?
So for all of you lovely, lovely, beautiful people out there, please be safe, be kind, and above all, wash your fucking hands. Wash your hands, wash your ass, and we will see you motherfuckers next week.
Thanks, QG.
You're very welcome.
The media said what? Ha